What happens when an ordinary trash collector gets transported to another world, awakens his hidden ability, have an overpowered leveling system, and he becomes the Beast King of a fallen orc nation? Let's find out. At some location that looks like a ritual ground for some kind of race that is definitely not human, a human kid is brought to his knees as a sacrificial lamb, and he has no idea where he is, but the one thing he does know is that he is definitely in danger. One of his captors, who looks like the leader of the cave, declares that the human boy must receive divine punishment for intruding on their lands, and proceeds to yap about how this precious land of the beast folk has been secluded from the outside world for centuries and now has been defiled by a human. The other beastmen captors strongly agree with this, and they unanimously agree that he gets offed in a stylish way. The kid, on the other hand, is not doing so hot, as he has no idea how he got here from the cave he was in just a moment ago, and things do not seem to be going well for him. 5 hours before the incident, our MC is chowing down on some food when he is instructed to hurry up and finish since they are about to start work in the cave. He is also reminded not to stray while inside, given that they are the only cleaning team assigned to do the job, and also not to slack off if he wanted to get any scrap metal. Our protagonist then asks why so many people were coming to a mere C-rank cave, so he is informed that it is because more cleaners were showing up to the job. A voice from outside now calls up to them to tell them the heroes had arrived, and our MC rushes his food to go outside. Some of his co-workers are thinking of how even C-rank dungeons gave him chills from getting closer, wondering how much of a terror an A-rank or S-rank cave could be. But then 2 heroes emerge from within the cave, talking about how easy of a reward they had made from the cave. The workers then take permission from the heroes before entering the cave, and that is when our protagonist's name is revealed as Tsuyoshi Tsukishiro, and that he was a cleaner. In this world, cleaners, commonly known as trash collectors, go into caves already raided by the heroes to collect the leftovers or spoils of war, and these cleaners are completely unrelated to the heroes. The cleaners and heroes live in completely different worlds of class, and Tsuyoshi Tsukishiro goes on to reveal how he failed the awakening test because of his physical constitution, even though he wanted to be a hero too. They get into the cave and are told that it is not very big since it is just a C rank, and then they are reminded that the cave would close after 4 hours, so they should hurry up. Almost immediately, Tsuyoshi finds a shield fragment, and he is told that it was a good sign that maybe his parents were watching him from heaven. But then about 3.5 hours later, it seems like all his luck could give him was a shield fragment. He is reminded that it is almost time to exit the cave, so he begins to panic, knowing that it will not even cover a day of Karina's medical expenses, who is someone close to him. His special broke senses then smell treasure from a nearby well, and although he wonders why a dried-up well is there, he also wonders if he could find some undamaged equipment that might cover Karina's medical expenses. He then finds a ring protruding from the index finger of a skeleton buried within the well, and then he finds a way to enter the well, wondering if the heroes had not noticed it. As he grabs it, he notices it is a rare item, the kind of equipment that usually has a small status-boosting effect, but sells for a great price. He then wears the ring for safekeeping while hurrying to regroup. The ring starts to glow, hurting his finger in the process. Just then, a system activates informing him that the boundless ring has recognized him as its owner, and from now on, the boundless ring will not be removed, or have its ownership changed, and now the boundless passage will open shortly. While he wonders where the voice had come from, a portal appears from his hand and teleports him away while he cries for help. The others wonder where his voice came from and think he had gone to another area to search. Tsuyoshi Tsukishiro regains consciousness and finds himself captured by beast folk standing before an altar as one of the criminals to receive divine punishment. It seems that divine punishment refers to a terrifying lightning strike that falls upon the altar. He reckons that the place he is at seems to be a sacred land for beast folk, and he was sent from the well. The Beast King declares that they commence the execution, and a big orc starts giving a speech and introducing the first one to be executed, an orc who supposedly sold confidential information to the despised elves and humans. The orc is brought out while being berated by the others to face his divine punishment as he is struck by lightning. After him, Tsuyoshi is brought out while he tries to beg for his life and explain his situation to the savage beast folk, but to no avail. He really cannot afford to end his life here, especially since he still has Karina and his dreams of being a hero. These are all he can think of as he is brought to his knees before the altar to receive divine punishment while the other peasant orcs chant for his death. The first fall of lightning comes down, which he dodges to the surprise of everyone, even the Beast King. He is quite stubborn and persistent in his refusal to meet his creator today, if nothing else. He gets up and tries to run but is struck again, leaving him a bit worse than burnt toast. The beast folk feel much better now and mock him, Then they proceed to begin bringing out the next victim for the divine punishment, which is a young beast girl. But before that can happen, the ring on Tsuyoshi's finger begins to glow, and the system activates, revealing that the authentication is complete, and it begins the body repair and construction of the ultimate physique. Before Tsuyoshi can do anything, though, his burnt body is struck again by lightning, signifying that he is not quite dead yet, to the utter shock of everyone. He is struck again and again, and starts making his way to some golden weapon, while receiving the ultimate physique from the ring. The ring keeps reconstructing his body with every lightning strike, and then our MC realizes that something is calling out to him. He slowly starts making his way to the weapon, which is the hammer of the Divine King, and the Beast Men are incredibly shocked at this because other than the Divine King himself, no one has ever gotten this close to the hammer of the Divine King. Even the king is seen geeking as Tsuyoshi grabs the hammer from below and lifts it up like a Chad as he roars out with explosive lightning aura with his new hot hunk body that has completed its reconstruction. The beast folk gawk as Tsuyoshi, now wrapped in lightning, grips the hammer with a determined grin and lifts it off the ground. He feels its weight and its power, and he thinks that if the hammer has called to him, then he will put it to use. With a mighty swing, he sends a shockwave through the room, rattling the walls and sending dust flying. Suddenly, a system notification pops up congratulating him on acquiring the Divine Hammer and leveling up to level 3. The notification also tells him that the current unlocked power of the Divine Hammer is 0% due to insufficient capability, and that the full power of the hammer cannot be demonstrated with its special effect being unknown. A beast woman gasps at the sight as she is witnessing an actual human lifting the hammer. Her voice trembles as if she has just seen a chicken do calculus. The idea that a mere human has lifted the Divine Hammer is more than impossible. It is insulting. Even the great Beast King himself has failed. Legend says that whoever wields the hammer becomes the leader of the beast folk, but this moment feels like a cosmic glitch. Tsuyoshi is still trying to process what has happened when another status window appears before him, showing level 3 in the Divine Selection system. But then with a heavy thud, Ryuga lands behind him snarling that a filthy human has no right to touch the hammer. The beast folk roar for their general to take back their honor. Ryuga's glare boils with rage as he declares that whatever trick has saved the human will not save him again. His great sword gleams as he draws it, and with a voice that shakes the chamber asks Tsuyoshi to return the hammer and accept his punishment. Tsuyoshi freezes as another notification appears. A passive skill called Divine Eye activates, and by focusing it can reveal information about opponents or items. Curious, he turns it toward Ryuga and a window appears, revealing that his name is Ryuga, his title is General, his level is 84, his occupation is Beastman Warrior, and his weapon is a Zanbato Grade A. The numbers make Tsuyoshi's heart sink as he is well aware that facing someone of that level is basically suicide. He is astonished by the Divine Eye and wonders if it is a feature of the system. Ryuga belittles him and promises to kill him. Before Tsuyoshi can speak, Ryuga raises his sword high and roars for silence. Tsuyoshi begs for an audience, and the beast woman thinks to herself that the human is doomed due to the sheer strength of Ryuga, who could cut a human into halves with a single strike. The strike comes down like thunder, so Tsuyoshi clenches the hammer with both hands, and dust and air explode as the strike lands. As the air clears, Tsuyoshi still stands gripping the hammer with trembling arms, his body close to breaking but the hammer unyielding. Ryuga's eyes widen for the first time as he realizes his strike has been blocked. Ryuga growls that the hammer has saved Tsuyoshi's life, but it will not save him again. But Tsuyoshi pleads that it is all but a misunderstanding due to him not being from this world. His fury overflows as he lunges forward and says there is nothing to hear. Ryuga grips Tsuyoshi's torso in one massive hand and hurls him high into the sky, preparing to smash him down like nothing. The world spins as Tsuyoshi is flung upward, but in that moment, a system notification appears showing that absolute replication has been activated, and touching an opponent's heart allows one skill to be stolen. Tsuyoshi twists his body awkwardly as he falls, still thinking about the system notification and deciding to try it out. He brushes his hand against Ryuga's chest, which gets Ryuga all zesty. Tsuyoshi gets overwhelmed by all the abilities from Ryuga, but decides to go with the Heaven Shaker due to its compatibility. The system chimes that the Heaven Seeker skill has been fully replicated. Tsuyoshi swings the hammer with all his might, and Heaven Seeker bursts out with a violent clash against Ryuga's sword. The explosion shakes the entire arena, filling it with dust and chaos, with the crowd left in awe. When it clears, Tsuyoshi stands holding the glowing hammer, while Ryuga stares in disbelief as he realizes that his own technique has been stolen. Even yet, no damage has been dealt. Then a system notification explains to Tsuyoshi that without a profession or weapon mastery, the power cannot inflict harm. Both Ryuga and Tsuyoshi are left utterly shocked and so disappointed that it is almost laughable. Resuming the battle, Ryuga roars in fury, raising his sword to finish it. But just as the strike falls, a voice booms across the arena, and the Beast King himself appears. The dust parts as the king kneels before Tsuyoshi. The entire arena falls silent in shock, and whispers spread like wildfire. The hammer had chosen him, meaning that the prophecy is real, and the Beast King's voice carries through the hall as he declares that for centuries, none have lifted the hammer, and yet today a human has succeeded. Many protest that it is unthinkable, but the king silences them, reminding them that the prophecy has never stated that the chosen must be beast folk. He then places his hand upon Tsuyoshi's forehead and burns a mark into his mind, declaring that if he does not return within 1 year, he will be hunted down and ended. The Beast Woman, who was supposed to be the next to be executed after our MC and had watched from the crowd, calls out that he should take this chance and grow stronger. Tsuyoshi meets her eyes and with Divine Eye sees her strength, with the fact that she is a level 72 dagger user marked as a criminal, and yet her encouragement rings clear. She tells him not to waste this chance. Tsuyoshi, after consideration, decides to accept the offer with the condition of the Beast Woman coming with him. Later, as the night falls, Tsuyoshi gazes at the ring on his finger, realizing that everything began with it. The Beast Woman approaches him, her voice soft but firm as she declares that she will serve him. Her eyes steady as she calls him master, and Tsuyoshi accepts her words quietly. A strange bond forming between them as they prepare to leave the village together. But before they can take a step, the ring glows once more, revealing that the boundless pass is available, and golden light surrounds him, pulling him away. The Beast Woman reaches out calling for him, but the light carries him away back to his world. In a flash, he stumbles onto solid ground, the well behind him, his teammates' voices calling down impatiently. They tell him to climb out quickly before the cave collapses. His heart races as realization sinks in. Though hours have passed in the other world, only moments have passed here. Time itself is frozen between them. He climbs the rope breathless, his mind filled with the weight of everything that has happened. 2 worlds now tied together, the divine hammer still in his inventory, and the promise of a year that will decide everything. Tsuyoshi's thoughts raged back to that bloody day when everything changed. The first gate opened and the world erupted into chaos. Blood streamed down his forehead, a makeshift bandage glued to his cheek as he bolted through the streets with his unconscious sister slung over his back, her breathing faint and her body numb to the touch. A flipped patrol car nearby released a piercing siren, a harbinger of the devastation that followed the gate's opening. Dominating everything was a colossal beast that destroyed buildings the way a sugar-fueled toddler destroyed an entire room, casting its dark shadow over everything in its path. Behind Tsuyoshi came a distant voice, his younger sister Karina whispering that she could not feel her legs, and her voice was so weak that she could barely get the information across. Her words stung deeper than any wound, but he kept going, eyes filled with red light, adrenaline coursing through him like fire. She whispered a second time asking about their parents, but before he could answer, a massive bomb tore down the street. He stumbled, clutching Karina tighter than his own life, refusing to let her go. Among the smoke and wreckage, he screamed for his parents, his voice cracking but his words drowned in the wails of the city as the screams of the populace mangled into one hellish din. His shoulder jerked suddenly as a hand gripped him, but it was just his uncle Nakazato pulling him back to reality, telling him that it was either do or die. He pleaded for his parents, but Nakazato shook his head sharply, threatening that if he looked around, the darkness would consume him as well, reminding him to remember Karina, who needed a hospital in a hurry. The memory fades and Tsuyoshi returns back to the present. He is beside Karina, who is in a wheelchair, her worried eyes fixed on him as she softly asks if he is really going to retake the awakening test tomorrow. At the far end of the room, a nurse passes by with a smiling face urging Karina to rest, but Tsuyoshi's gaze does not shift from his sister. He massages his head with a smile that makes a half-hearted attempt at confidence and inquires if her legs still hurt. She looks down at herself as she admits she can no longer walk even though she has grown used to the pain. The system's haunting alert glares into his face, telling him both of Karina's legs are mangled, nerves shredded beyond revival with a 1% survival chance. He seethes at the words as if they mock him, then looks over at his sister sitting in her chair. He envisions the life she should be living, school, friends, and laughter. But instead, she gets intense pain every day in a chair holding her captive. In his mind, he screams that Karina is all he has left, and even if there is only a 1% possibility of healing, he will battle for it. That night, he walks alone through the city, the biting cold slicing at his flesh, thoughts storming in his mind. Even a 1% chance is hope, and if he rises high enough as a hero, maybe he will gain the power or knowledge to heal her. He steps into the middle of the road, balls his fist and raises his hand up to the moonlit sky, swearing that he will live proudly and become the strongest hero. That same night, the awakening test field buzzes with activity. One boy exits the chamber, grinning ear to ear when the tester announces a level 3 with combat power of 540. He celebrates as though he has already won the world. The desk clerk sighs before announcing the next name, which is Tsuyoshi Toshiro, adding a sarcastic comment that this is his second attempt after failing initially. Tsuyoshi steps in with his bandaged face, uniform on, and his steps confident. The worker warns that most who fail once always fail, but Tsuyoshi ignores him, entering the chamber with determination. He places his hand on the machine, calling forth his strength, and then muscles creak, power flows, and the room shakes as the machine rages wildly. The readings skyrocket out of control until the device breaks, the screen flashing his result. Apparently, he is at level 3, with a combat power of 5,400, almost 10 times the previous boy, and a new record. Tsuyoshi stares at the number, confusion mixing with happiness as he cracks a smile. He has reached the level of an actual hero, and this is only the beginning. But his thoughts stray to the Divine King Hammer. Summoning it into his hand, another system prompt welcomes him, warning that he can only utilize it fully for 1 second and at unthinkable expense. He smirks anyway, deciding that 1 second is enough, and gripping the hammer tightly. He touches the device once more, unleashing its power. Agony rips through him, as if his soul is being squeezed out, but the hammer roars with lightning, shaking the chamber and sending bolts screaming into the stormy sky beyond. Citizens lose their minds as the tempest gathers. The machine before him revs up, unable to measure anymore, so it explodes into sparks before the building plunges into darkness completely. The employee bursts in shouting for evacuation but stops, staring at Tsuyoshi weak, drained but holding the hammer. His eyes widen in shock, not knowing who he even is anymore. Later, limping down the halls, Tsuyoshi admits to himself that he underestimated the hammer as his strength was completely drained in an instant. But despite the exhaustion, a smile spreads across his face. He also just found out that he is a hero officially now. Training begins under a golden armored instructor named Gaia, a level 9 fighter with potential combat power of 1,200. Tsuyoshi smirks silently at the number, already imagining how much his own strength will grow in comparison. Gaia glares at the trainees, curtly informing them they will be sent into a D-rank dungeon immediately with no easy training and no hesitation. The new heroes shudder in terror, some protesting, but Gaia waves them aside with a glare declaring that only real combat matters. Tsuyoshi glances at the nervous newbies fidgeting, his perverted mind drifting to the beast girl he left behind in the other world. That night, after the city calms down from the chaos, he strokes the ring once more. Then light surrounds him and the other world opens. The familiar wind greets him again as he looks up at the bright moon and smiles. Everything resets as well, his gear and his attire back to the cleaning uniform he had on the first time he came. But the feeling of returning tightens his chest with determination. His beast girl companion from before also appears before him, her presence overpowering yet comforting, her features making his nose leak a little blood. She asks if something is wrong, but he waves it off, telling her to lead the way. Her face turns serious as she scouts around a nearby goblin den, their numbers great but levels low. Tsuyoshi grins with excitement as he declares that he will attack the goblins. Her eyes sparkle as she raises her fist, eager to begin, and they set off toward the cave. From the bushes, they watch the sentries. Tsuyoshi grins, showing his eagerness, but she warns him that fighting alongside her gives him no experience due to their level gap. When he requests to see her fight, she agrees, vanishing in an instant and cutting down the goblins with ease. Tsuyoshi watches in awe, clapping at her quickness and strength. She returns, face flushing, but when he asks to learn the move, she explains to him that it is far too advanced. Without hesitation, he switches his occupation to warrior, his combat strength still 5,400, and his weapon, the Divine King Hammer. She takes his hand gently, blushing as she vows to help him as his partner, her warmth leaving him dazed but grateful. The moment breaks as more goblins arrive, one shouting about shift changes and spotting the dead sentries. Tsuyoshi smiles and steps forward, borrowing her dagger and determined to test his strength. With a precise slash, he releases a stream of power that eliminates the goblins with ease. The Beast Girl watches in amazement, astonished that he can take out enemies of equal quality so easily, something that usually requires a full party. Tsuyoshi lands softly, smiling as the system bombards him with experience. His position shifts and his growth is undeniable, making his determination more intense than ever. The Beast Girl steps forward with her ears low, while she offers him a rough sword made from scraps, and asks him to use it for now. Tsuyoshi ignores the sword because his eyes lock on a wooden stick lying abandoned on the ground, and he bends down to pick it up as though it is the only choice worth making. The system reveals to him that he has reached level 3, where his occupation is warrior. His weapon is a worn-out wooden stick. He has no skill, but has Heaven Seeker as a replicated skill, and his experience is 50 out of 3,000. The Beast Girl warns that his weapon offers no defense, and although Tsuyoshi agrees, he still keeps it as he opens his Divine Consciousness inventory, which by his research allows stored items to be used in both worlds. 2 slots appear with one holding the Divine King Hammer and the second remaining empty, and no new slots can be created. A message appears about the Divine Consciousness inventory, which grows through training and is influenced by one's abilities. The message also shows that leveling up will expand the slots. He ponders about the lack of slots and how in the real world a set of equipment is divided into 5. When he looks at the Beast Girl, she grows uneasy and asks if something is on her face. He gets a dirty thought and gets flustered with a watery smirk. Yet he says calmly that he only wanted to make sure she is still with him. Before she can reply, she stiffens and shouts that something is behind him. 3 goblins rush forward with snarls and their health bars glow level 4 while the Beast Girl raises her sword and warns him to stay sharp due to the fact that the goblins get stronger as they go deeper. Tsuyoshi asks if that also means that the experience points will increase as he leaps into the goblins and tells the Beast Girl not to interfere in order for him to get the experience. Tsuyoshi grips the stick firmly and charges forward as his swing crashes like thunder, with his eyes glowing red, and light floods the cave, taking down all the goblins. The system reveals to him that his experience has increased to 150 out of 3,000. The stick cracks in his hand, yet he still says that it is too weak while the Beast Girl stares at him in silence, whispering that his strength is far beyond what she imagined. She is amazed at Tsuyoshi's ability to defeat the goblins in an instant, despite the difference in level. They continue deeper into the cave where stronger goblins appear, and Tsuyoshi cuts through them one after another, while the Beast Girl follows closely behind with Tsuyoshi's experience now at 1,230. He mutters that the skill is powerful, but the weapon is holding him back while his experience rises rapidly, and his thoughts slip briefly to his old life, where guild warriors always complained about slow leveling while he only watched from the background. Now there are no guilds or rules and no one to take what belongs to him, and as another goblin falls, he mutters that this world finally belongs to him. The system reveals to him that his experience has risen to 2,100 out of 3,000. Tsuyoshi says that at this pace he will be unstoppable, and he is going straight for the boss. The cave opens into a massive chamber lit by glowing moss where a towering shadow stands in the center, and red eyes glare through the darkness. Tsuyoshi asks if that is the goblin boss, and the Beast Girl stiffens as she explains that the boss has been consumed by darkness. The word pierces Tsuyoshi because darkness destroyed his old world and took his family, and then his grip tightens on the stick. She warns that darkness multiplies strength exponentially and makes every strike unpredictable, and she declares that she will fight it herself. Tsuyoshi shakes his head and answers that he will destroy it with his own hands and avenge his family. The Dark Goblin boss steps from the shadows roaring as the ground shakes, and Tsuyoshi charges shouting about the darkness that ruined his sister's life. But the monster's strike throws him across the chamber, and pain surges through his body as the creature closes in. The Beast Girl dashes forward and cuts off its tongue with a swift strike, shouting for him to fight as she plants herself in front of him. Tsuyoshi rises slowly with blood on his lip, and golden light bursts from his eyes as he refuses to be killed by the likes of those that took his family. The system reveals to him that his ultimate physique has been fully activated. Energy surges through him as his body shines, and he roars that if he has no weapon, then his body itself will be the weapon. The system shows the enhancement on the right hand and warns him to be cautious due to the immense pain. He leaps and drives his fist into the Dark Goblin boss as a shockwave rips through the chamber until the monster is reduced to ash as he tells the monster to perish. A new system message appears showing him that he has leveled up to level 4. Breathing heavily, Tsuyoshi lowers his fist and stares at the empty ground where the boss once stood, and he vows with steady resolve that he will kill all the darkness. As the adrenaline drains from his body, Tsuyoshi glances at his trembling right hand. A smirk tugs at his lips despite the searing pain, and he realizes that even his own body cannot keep up with the power. Pride and self-awareness flicker in his expression as the beast girl rushes to his side, her voice thick with concern as she draws notice to his arm. He tries to wave her off but winces sharply as pain shoots up his arm. Glowing text flickers in his vision. A system warning appears revealing that it has detected severe injury and warning him that immediate treatment is required to prevent necrosis, as energy output has exceeded the physical limits of his hand and his body has been pushed too far. Clutching his arm, Tsuyoshi's knees buckle, his vision blurs, and he collapses into the beast girl's chest. She gasps but catches him with surprising strength, her voice trembling as she begs him not to give up while frantically pulling a small vial of shimmering liquid from her satchel. Time passes, and the cave grows strangely calm with two bats, one white and one black, fluttering lazily. Tsuyoshi's eyes snap open with a spark of vitality. He groans as he sits up and flexes his fingers carefully, relief washing through him as he exclaims that he feels better already. The beast girl beams with joy, glad that the medicine works and his arm is still tender, but no longer swollen or burning. His mind turns curious as he notes that the recovery speed is slower than medicine from his world, but the elixir clearly taps into deep healing methods. Energy surges inside him, and he jumps to his feet, striking a bodybuilder pose and shouting that he is stronger than ever. The beast girl claps happily, still grinning, and then he suddenly remembers the reward waiting deeper inside, and she giggles, reminding him that that was why they came in the first place. A soft glow catches his eye, a treasure chest that rests in the center of the cavern, and just as they approach, a notification appears revealing that he has unlocked an achievement. The fastest time defeating the goblin boss, and his reward gets upgraded as a result. The beast girl points in awe at the darkness treasure chest, and Tsuyoshi's heart pounds as he steps forward, because he knows that darkness treasures are legendary even in his world. His hands quiver with excitement, and suddenly all the battles and pain feel worth it in that single moment. With a deep breath, he opens the chest, and inside lies an intricately designed set of armor radiating a faint glow, which the system confirms is the Dark Goblin set. The beast girl leans close with wide eyes, telling Tsuyoshi that the armor is rare and valuable, but Tsuyoshi's face shifts with concern as he quickly closes the chest, his mind racing about inventory space, wondering if the set counts as one item or several. As if reading his thoughts, the system asks if he wants to save it. He hesitates, but then confirms it, and to his amazement, the entire set fits into a single slot. Relief and excitement fill him. A mischievous grin spreads across his face as he thinks of how much of a steal this is. Later, under the silvery moonlight, the two sit on a grassy hill, and the beast girl carefully mends a tear in her cloak, while Tsuyoshi leans back, gazing at the stars, and the night feels calm and surreal. She holds up a vest she has sewn, her eyes gleaming with both pride and nervousness. Tsuyoshi's eyes widen in awe as he slips it on, and he admires the craftsmanship and praises her skill. Her smile stretches wide, her heart swelling with pride. Quiet satisfaction washes over Tsuyoshi as he thinks about resting. He stands stretching and suggests they settle for the night, and she nods softly in agreement. Back in his apartment, Tsuyoshi collapses onto his bed with a heavy sigh, and relief floods his chest as his mind drifts back to the beast girl, her face lingering in his thoughts, and he remembers how he waited until she fell asleep before slipping away, this time with a ton of loot weighing down his heart. The next morning, a notification blinks before him asking if he would like to equip the Dark Goblin set, and without hesitation he confirms it. The system reveals a special skill, Roaring Tentacles, which is a scream that stuns weak enemies while transforming his hand into a lethal phantom tentacle. Tsuyoshi stares at his reflection, and his grin widens at the sight of the armor. He looks like a boss monster ready to strike, and excitement bubbles inside him, but doubt creeps in as he thinks about how others will come for his head just to get their hands on rare gear. Just then, another notification appears revealing an equipment effect conceal feature that disguises his armor as normal clothes. With trembling fingers, he confirms to use it, and the armor vanishes, instantly replaced by simple clothing. He looks down at himself, relieved, but his mind still races. Just as Tsuyoshi prepares to leave, his phone rings, and confusion hits him as he answers. On the other end, a nurse's panicked voice breaks through, informing him that scary men are at the hospital trying to take Karina. claiming that she owes money. The call ends abruptly and immediate dread crashes down on Tsuyoshi. Then fury ignites hotter than anything he has ever felt, his grip crushing the phone as rage consumes him. He storms out and the system flashes again, confirming his class and equipment, but his mind is locked on one thing, Karina. At the hospital, Karina kneels on the floor. Her voice cracks as she pleads for them to stop. The lead loan shark sneers, towering over her, informing her that her brother has borrowed money and failed to pay, so she is collateral. Karina's voice shakes as she protests that her brother would never sign such a contract, but the man grins cruelly, his mind twisting with dark amusement as he mutters about her value on the black market. His hand grabs her chin roughly and forces her to look up, and his grin widens with sadistic thrill as he leans close, promising to go easy if she obeys, but hinting at far worse if she resists. Suddenly the doors explode inward with a deafening crash, and Tsuyoshi stands in the doorway, his eyes blazing with fury. The air grows heavy and tense, and his voice rings out cold and sharp, demanding to know who dares touch his precious sister. Silence fills the room as his gaze locks onto the man threatening his sister, and the air thickens like a storm ready to break. Tsuyoshi isn't playing, and he tells the scumbag to brace himself, his voice dropping low and carrying the weight of violence. After Tsuyoshi kicked the hospital door open with the force of a superhero way overqualified for the situation, the system notification displays his level as 4. His occupation as warrior, his equipment as dark goblin set, his special skill as roaring tentacles, his weapon as none with replicated skill as Heaven Shaker, and experience 0 out of 6,000. The room that was previously noisy with bad villain dialogue goes dead silent. His sister sitting in a wheelchair calls out to him, and the gang leader reclining sneers with overconfidence as he shifts his attention to Tsuyoshi. He smirks and asks Tsuyoshi why he looks so angry, reminding him that this is what they agreed on. He continues to tell Tsuyoshi that he doesn't need a cripple sister like her anyway, but he doesn't even get to finish that sentence because Tsuyoshi, who is fueled by rage and zero chill, and is sick of hearing this dude's yapping, moves faster than expected. In the blink of an eye, his foot connects with the leader's face so hard that it probably sent a shock through his body, and the poor guy's teeth go airborne with his body doing an Olympic-level spin before crashing to the ground. Another system notification pops up showing the strongest body part had been unlocked, which is his legs, thereby increasing the speed and power. Tsuyoshi's eyes begin to glow ominous red. One of the dumb gang members, clearly reckless, decides to try his luck and throws a punch. Big mistake as Tsuyoshi meets the punch with his own, and the guy's hand disintegrates. Now he sits on the ground, cradling his broken hand and trembling in pain. The gang leader, groaning, manages to spit out some nonsense like nobody defies the Blue Snake Gang, and then he whips out a gun aiming straight at Tsuyoshi and he fires. The bullet zooms through the air, but Tsuyoshi casually catches the bullet with his bare hand, like he's the Flash, and then the room goes silent again. He lets the bullet drop and walks toward them, his face an intimidating blend of fury and focus. The system chimes again, showing the strongest body part unlocked now is his hands, which are immune to ordinary weapons. The remaining gangsters huddle together, trembling. One of them stutters, realizing the situation, that they are actually facing a hero. Moments later, the nurse who called Tsuyoshi earlier arrives with security. She yells at them to hurry as there are loan sharks harassing a patient and her brother. As she pushes the door open, she freezes as she sees that the once feared gangsters are now huddled in a pile covered in bruises, their leader looking defeated. Forcing a smile, the leader politely begs Tsuyoshi to pay in one lump sum as soon as possible, as if delay occurs in repayment. Some dude whom he refers to as the young boss and is apparently also a hero might be happy about it. The gangsters all raise their hands and say they'll be leaving now before scrambling out the door. When the lights come on, the nurse still standing there looks at Tsuyoshi and then at the gangsters fleeing for their lives. As the lone shark leader shuffles away from the hospital room, bruised and beaten, he decides that he has to report this to the boss or his plan to take the sister will fail. Then a notification pops up in the leader's mind, showing Blue Shark Gang boss level as 10, his occupation as warrior tank, his combat power as 2,300. But the system notification isn't linked to Tsuyoshi. He smirks darkly as he realizes that his boss is level 10, so that kid is just a trainee compared to him, and he doesn't stand a chance. Meanwhile, inside the hospital room, his sister Karina stares at him in confusion. She asks if they left with her voice full of disbelief. Tsuyoshi, holding a white cloth, steps closer and kneels slightly and admits that those jerk faces were actually right, and if they don't pay them soon, they will be back. Tsuyoshi has been thinking hard, trying to figure out how to repay them, But he is a hero now, and so there's hope, and he tells Karina not to worry about it. Karina, with a faint smile, looks at him, wanting to know if he really became a hero, and Tsuyoshi awkwardly scratches the back of his head as he shyly pulls out his hero ID. He informs her that he is still an intern though, but will be officially recognized after passing the cave trial. With determination, Tsuyoshi walks out of the room ready to face the challenge, his thoughts racing as he knows that he had borrowed 60,000 yen from the Blue Shark Gang for Karina's treatment, and if he tries to pay it back slowly, it will take forever. Even if he became an official hero, it won't be enough. The only way to repay his debt is to sell all equipment, but that's risky. The scene shifts to the cave entrance where Tsuyoshi joins a group of adult trainees, all under the watchful eye of their instructor Gaia, a grizzled man standing with arms crossed. The instructor barks that everyone here will be tested on their skills to see if they are ready to become official heroes, and that all equipment found in the cave belongs to him with no exceptions. The trainees nod without hesitation, but Tsuyoshi, however, reckons that he has heard rumors about this stupid scam, and it seems like the Hero Union is turning a blind eye to it, but then again he knows that it's not like anything valuable could be found in a low-level cave anyway. The instructor raises a fist dramatically with his voice booming, and reveals that he is a level 9 warrior for the record, and as long as his instructions are followed, he assures them that they will all pass the exam, but in return for his expert guidance, the trainees will have to pay 20,000 yen. He asks if it's understood, and a trainee confirms it. Tsuyoshi, raising his hand, asks loudly why they should pay Gaia, who is already taking all the equipment found. He asks further how they are supposed to have any money left for themselves if things go this way, but another trainee warns him nervously and whispers not to go against Gaia because he is part of the Crazy Wolf Guild. Tsuyoshi reckons that Gaia has got backing which would explain why he is shameless, but he makes up his mind not to pay someone like him to help the strong and crush the weak, even if it costs him his life. The instructor, now visibly irritated, tells Tsuyoshi that if he is too broke to pay, then he should sign up for the solo test instead. He smirks as he doesn't care what happens to Tsuyoshi since he is provoking him. The trainees are well aware that no one ever survives a solo trial, and one trainee whispers that even the strongest heroes avoid it. Another trainee calls Tsuyoshi a fool for incurring Gaia's wrath. Tsuyoshi, undeterred, crosses arms confidently and asks to sign up for a solo test as it is even more convenient for him. In the middle of a forest, the official asks Tsuyoshi if he is serious and if he knows what signing up means. The official proceeds by informing him that no one has ever passed the solo test, not even top heroes, so it is practically a death sentence for a trainee. With a respectful bow, Tsuyoshi thanks him for concern, not doubting what he said, but he still asks to be let through. The official, now trembling, figures that this is insane. Meanwhile, Tsuyoshi walks toward the cave entrance. As he steps into the cave, the world seems to shift around him, and in front is not the dark, damp cave expected, but a magical forest glowing with an otherworldly light. A new notification pops up showing that he is a test confirmation trainee, and that solo test application has been confirmed. It shows further information like cave and forest type, his level as level C, and recommended participants as 5 or more, and recommended combat power as 600 plus. He had only seen caves after the heroes cleaned out the darkness, so this is all very new to him, but before he can ponder further, a goblin leaps out of shadows from behind him swinging a wooden stick. The stick connects with Tsuyoshi's back and snaps in half, and a blue glow emits from him. Tsuyoshi turns around slowly, looking more annoyed than hurt, informing the unfortunate creature that a surprise attack of that level of power won't hurt him. A notification pops up revealing the combat power check of the goblin as 640. The goblin freezes before it can react, and Tsuyoshi smirks, his golden eyes glinting and looking down at the goblin as he yanks the broken stick out of its hand and swings it back at the creature, admitting that the dark goblin is pretty strong, but when compared to his power is nothing but dust. The goblin crumples to the ground. Tsuyoshi knows that the experience gained from real-world enemies is not even half of that of counterparts on the other side, which would explain why the heroes suffer from slow growth. Another notification appears revealing that he has gained 20% of 6,000 experience. Sensing more movement, Tsuyoshi stretches his arms casually and tells them to come to him all at once instead of sneaking up on him. The forest erupts as dozens of goblins emerge from the bushes, screeching and charging at him, but without hesitation he activates dark goblin armor. The suit pulses and black tentacles erupt, striking down the goblins. Tsuyoshi yells and calls for the goblins to come out and face him. Outside the cave, the bespectacled official stares at his iPad nervously with beads of sweat rolling down his face, muttering to himself that it's almost an hour, and no one's ever lasted this long. He really wonders if Tsuyoshi is fearless or just reckless. He knows that the Union was going to get rid of the test, and now he is stuck overseeing the test. Suddenly the device beeps loudly, and a new notification appears showing that the solo test results have been uploaded and that candidate Tsuyoshi Tashiro passed. The man's jaw drops, and at the cave exit, Tsuyoshi walks out of the cave casually brushing off dirt from his dark goblin body. A new notification pops up showing his stats, and looking around, Tsuyoshi casually asks if there is a place nearby for him to wash up. The scene shifts to the portal where Tsuyoshi, the trainees, and the instructor are gathered. From the portal, the instructor and all the trainees emerge looking worse for wear, and the instructor glares at the group while gripping a knife, saying that without his presence, every single one of them would already be dead. To him, the 20,000 fee for becoming a hero without contributing in combat is far too cheap. One trainee recalls how the teachers had warned against interference, and another reflects on how healing magic support was refused, finding it absurd that any complaint about 20,000 could follow after that. The first trainee reinforces the point, remembering that this is the group's first cave dive and that almost no explanation had been provided. Anger at them feels outrageous in light of such circumstances, and then a third trainee nervously tries to calm the others, believing that the test has already been passed and that pushing further is unnecessary. The instructor scoffs and fixes them with a glare, convinced that at their level the charge should have been 40,000, and that allowing them to leave with a demand of 20,000 is already lenient. The instructor's communication device suddenly buzzes, interrupting the tirade, and with irritation, he responds to the Hero Exam Center, impatiently demanding brevity. As the message comes through, his face twists into shock and disbelief, with sweat forming on his forehead and his jaw falling slack. The information concerns Tsuyoshi, and the instructor struggles to process the report, learning that Tsuyoshi has passed the solo test. A little away from the cave entrance, Tsuyoshi calmly washes his hands and cleans himself up. Disbelief etched across his features, the instructor stomps toward him as he is convinced that at best, this is a level 4. Suspicions rise that high-grade equipment must have been used, since no rookie has ever succeeded in passing a solo test. Tsuyoshi tilts his head back slightly, remarking that impossibility is nothing more than an excuse. He further remarks that perhaps he was driven simply by the thought of saving 20,000. Anger boils over as the instructor seizes Tsuyoshi's shirt, demanding an explanation and warning of regret. Tsuyoshi remains unmoved and dismisses the guild's significance by comparing its power unfavorably to level 9 standards. Fury overtakes the instructor as golden light envelops his fist, and he attempts to strike. Yet Tsuyoshi catches the punch effortlessly mid-air and appears completely unfazed as he asks if Gaia wants to beat him with his level 9 fist. Shock spreads through the instructor's mind as he realizes such power should be unthinkable at level 4. Flustered, he draws a dagger and lunges again, only for Tsuyoshi to sidestep casually. Gaia attacks again, only to see the blade shatter instantly against the dark goblin armor which uses its defense effect. Staring at the fragments, sweat trickles down the instructor's face as disbelief turns to suspicion, and he is convinced that concealed high-grade equipment is at play. Tsuyoshi quietly recognizes the danger of exposing abilities that could draw unwanted attention. Gaia starts pressuring Tsuyoshi for the high-grade equipment, but he brushes it off as the fault of the dagger. The official arrives just in time and apologizes for keeping them waiting, and informs Tsuyoshi that he is now officially a hero. Gaia thinks to himself that the official was a lifesaver and that Tsuyoshi won't do something like that again. Tsuyoshi remarks that his combat power is above that of an ordinary level 4 due to the system, but it is still difficult facing higher-level enemies. Later that night, Tsuyoshi lies in his apartment recalling the events of the day. Drawing attention from Gaia feels dangerous at his current level, and the risk of standing out weighs heavily. Outside the apartment, two suspicious figures linger. One clutches a glowing staff and identifies the location, while the other nods with a rasping tone, urging the use of magic to paralyze and strip the occupant of everything. The instructor from earlier approaches with a sinister grin, a snake-like tongue flickering as a new blade gleams in his grip. He intends to split whatever is taken as he insists that the act remains silent to avoid drawing neighbors' notice. The magician begins chanting as he prepares to dismantle the seal on the door. Before any entry can be made, the door explodes outward with a deafening crash. All three intruders reel in surprise as Tsuyoshi appears framed in the doorway, eyes glowing crimson, veins pulsing across his face, and a wooden stick gripped tightly in hand. Hatred floods his features as he locks onto the would-be attackers. The magician, shaken but recovering, raises the staff and prepares an assault, But Tsuyoshi lunges forward and unleashes Heaven Shaker, striking with force and knocking the magician off balance. A frown darkens Tsuyoshi's expression as calculations race through his mind. Even against a level 10 mage with 3,500 combat power, the 6-stage gap renders direct combat dangerous. Combat power alone is not decisive, yet at level 4, the system itself punishes fighters for challenging opponents too far above their tier. He compares it to a low-level warrior fighting a high-level boss in RPG terms. Options narrow as fleeing while relying solely on equipment, risks failure and certain defeat. The magician regains footing, cloak torn, bald head fully revealed, and arrogance in posture. With renewed rage, a reinforced cloak is credited with survival, and another spell is hurled. Flame jet bursts forth, fire streaking toward Tsuyoshi. Swift evasion keeps him unharmed, but realization settles that the Dark Goblin set defends only against physical strikes, leaving magical assaults unchecked. Goblin caves were one matter. This battle is another entirely. Teeth grit as he bolts toward the far side, knowing head-on resistance ensures failure. Pursuers charge after him, intent on seizing their prize. Leaping from the side of a building, Tsuyoshi channels ultimate physique into his legs and reinforces them with the Dark Goblin set's durability. Confidence steadies his fall, but the moment before landing, a figure ambushes from below and a vicious knee drives into his abdomen mid-air, hurling pain through his body. The system identifies the attacker as a crazy wolf warrior of level 12 with combat power nearing 4,000. Smirking with cruel delight, the warrior slams Tsuyoshi into the ground, which carves a crater upon impact. Despite the force, Tsuyoshi struggles to his feet and steadies himself with one hand against the ground. Pain sears through him and abdominal protection is left exposed, but the armor reduces the damage enough to endure. The warrior lands nearby and is surprised at his survival, yet grudgingly impressed. The magician rejoins, fury twisting his features, and demands an answer for the inexplicable skill displayed. Tsuyoshi's temper ignites, eyes glowing brighter and faint markings of hidden armor etching across his face. Killing intent rises in response to the attempts on his life. Roaring tentacles of the Dark Goblin set lash outward, only to be halted instantly. The magician unleashes action restriction, locking Tsuyoshi's movements for a fleeting moment. The system confirms the effect, noting the 1.5-second restraint and effectiveness dictated by level difference. Frustration mounts as Tsuyoshi is helpless against the lock. Both enemies prepare to strike together, greed dripping from their words as they imagine the fortune to be made from stripping rare equipment. Just as despair threatens, fortune intervenes. A new system notification appears showing that the cooldown of the Ring of Boundless has ended. Relief floods Tsuyoshi's mind as the skill activates. A portal opens beneath him and pulls him away in a flash. The two enemies stand dumbfounded as he disappears, leaving only his glare behind and silently vowing return and vengeance. On the other side of the portal, Tsuyoshi collapses onto the ground, drenched in sweat with his chest heaving. Escape is secured, but only narrowly, with his trembling hands reminding him of weakness, and his resolve hardening with the realization that reliance on equipment alone cannot secure survival. True strength must be earned, and determination grips him tightly as he clenches his fists, knowing the future rests within his control. Turning his head, his eyes widen because resting nearby, the beast girl lies curled like a sleeping kitten, tranquil expression softened by a faint aura of untamed power. Her relaxed posture reveals a hint too much, crimson flush spreading across his face as blood trickles from his nose. As he takes in her stunning figure, the faint scent of cherry blossoms reaches him, which is the same fragrance she always carries. His body reacts instinctively with thoughts spiraling, denoting that if no action is taken now, he is less than a man. Just as control begins to slip, a system notification pierces the moment, showing ultimate physique and adrenaline surge, activating and enhancing muscles, speed, and vital areas across the body. The sudden jolt pulls him back, and the memory of the desperate escape from the third-grade villains begins to flash. The recollection cools his fire instantly, thereby leaving him kneeling like a defeated man, muttering that this is not the time, and that the focus must remain on survival, leveling up, and acquiring skills. Morning arrives. The beast girl stretches with a soft yawn, with golden light painting her features in warmth. She remarks that rest came easily for the first time in a long while. He sits nearby with dark circles shadowing his eyes, and a sigh escaping as he responds that he also slept well before asking her to prepare another piece of clothing so they can move on. She stares in confusion as she is still processing his words. Later in the forest, she explains that skill acquisition requires a skill scroll, with training at the combat academy serving as a faster alternative. Together they walk toward the small combat academy of the Beastman tribe, with its gates towering ahead. A guard halts them, sneering and making it clear there are conditions for enrollment, which include reaching level 6 and passing the entrance exam. With his level only at 4, the entry is impossible. A sigh slips from him, muttering that it is a hassle as he is seen with a new shirt made by the Beast Girl with an extra detail. Seeing his disappointment, she apologizes as she admits that long isolation in the cave made her forget about such requirements. His expression softens as he replies that it is fine because leveling is necessary anyway. Encouraged, she suggests a nearby cave fit for beginners. Before movement can begin, the guard interjects, calling him a filthy human who is tolerated only by the Beast King's order. Even with level 6, the exam will remain impossible, and with the hybrid girl by his side, they make a perfect pair of failures. Her smile falters. Shame spreads as the words sink deep. The thought rises that she is nothing more than a burden and would have to go eventually. His patience snaps as his eyes blaze and fists clench as he strides toward the guard, seizing him by the collar and lifting him slightly. Anger radiates as he growls that such words deserve punishment and demands an apology. The guard states that he speaks only facts because the girl is half human, half beast, which is a disgrace to the beastman as she is nameless and unwanted. A system notification confirms this truth by showing that half-beasts are regarded as shameful and shunned by both races and live lives of abandonment. His mind flashes to their first meeting as he realizes why no name appeared when he used the divine eye. Armed beastmen gather with bows trained on Tsuyoshi. The guard sneers again, warning him that disrespect to a beastman warrior earns equal punishment, and only by passing the exam would an apology ever be possible, which is something no human could achieve. The sting of those words holds him momentarily still. From behind, she tugs his sleeve and whispers that he should not trouble himself for her. His chest tightens, and he releases the guard with his voice steady as he declares her name to be Sakura. Her eyes widen with thoughts racing. The guard scoffs but receives no further response, for he has already turned. He tells the guard to remember that if success comes, then an apology must follow. With a gentle hand on her shoulder, he says it is time to level up. The path leads toward a mountain where fox beastmen patrol the area. Tsuyoshi's eyes gleam at the opportunity for a rare experience. She hesitates, softly asking why he gave her the name Sakura. He rubs the back of his head and admits that her constant fragrance of cherry blossoms felt graceful and calm, thereby making Sakura the perfect name, though he worries about overstepping. Her eyes glisten as she hugs him from behind, whispering gratitude and saying the name fills her with joy. He scratches his head with a faint smile, simply stating she is welcome. Before the mouth of a dark cave, he asks with confidence if they should begin. She hands him a dagger as she asks how it suits him. He studies it, noting it lacks top quality, yet far surpasses a goblin club. Lifting it with excitement in his eyes, he admits satisfaction, for after wielding the hammer, all weapons feel light. Inside, fox-like beastmen lurk in silence, their gazes sharp on the intruders. A system notification identifies them as members of the fox tribe, quick and cunning and dangerous to the careless. He instructs her to hold back and continue teaching as usual, claiming the experience for himself. She is pleased as he calls her name. With the dagger in hand, he launches at the nearest beastman. She calls out that their speed demands restraint in swinging. Striking one, he notes their agility. Another rushes from a blind spot, yet instinct and ultimate physique save him, his arm shattering the beastman's weapon. The enemies freeze, confidence faltering as he glares, warning that none can even scratch him. She watches in awe, marveling at the defense of one chosen by the iron hammer. Low-level enemies crumble before him. With sharpened movements and precise strikes, he overwhelms the group, speed triumphing over power. After victory, his breathing steadies with the dagger firm in his grip. The realization comes that leveling here is efficient, no competition for resources, and a chance to monopolize growth. Yet memories of the faces of the third-grade villains intrude, the level 9 instructor, the muscle-headed level 12 brute, and the level 10 bald fighter. Even with his combat strength, their coordination and overwhelming levels make victory impossible. Resolve hardens as he decides the gap must be closed with more skills obtained. Eyes gleam with determination as he strides deeper into the cave, declaring the need to reach level 6 at once. Sakura follows, ears perked, hands clasped close to her chest, answering with devotion that she understands. Her enthusiasm echoes in the cave as the two venture further. Then Tsuyoshi encounters a towering wolf beastman boss with level 7 who wields a massive sword with eyes scanning for its next prey. He eyes the weapon and smirks, murmuring to Sakura that he wonders if it will drop, with excitement sparking in his voice. When Sakura asks if he truly wants it, he casually deflects, saying it is only curiosity. She clasps her hands together, exclaiming that most items drop after defeating enemies, but it depends on the party and the cave. She further explains that the higher the item's quality, the lower the drop rate, though special items can improve chances. Intrigued, he turns his focus back to the Beastman boss, thinking about the drop rate and how this world truly feels like a game. Hovering above the beast's head, a notification appears showing the Dark Fox Beastman boss level 7, its combat power 1500, and its black cold light sword drop rate 6%. The low percentage makes him pause. Only 6%. Tough but perfect for him. Suddenly a golden notification pops up showing the exchange system activated and that conditions are detected. It further shows that items can be exchanged to unlock special effects and upgrades, and items unexchanged for long periods reset. Scanning through the exchange options, he finds a valuable item which is a high probability drop scroll with an effect of plus 30% drop rate for 1 minute, but with a condition to defeat 30 monsters. It also shows Tsuyoshi's current total as 114 monsters defeated. Excitement wells up within him as he realizes exchanging 3 scrolls will give a 96% chance the sword will be his. Without hesitation, he meets the conditions, exchanging 3 scrolls and a flurry of notifications appear. Another warning follows showing storage unavailable, and he should use items immediately. Wiping sweat from his brow, he secures the scrolls and turns to Sakura, determination radiating from him as he says it is time to get that sword. It will make him stronger. Sakura beams with excitement, urging him to do his best. He grips his weapon tightly, fixing an intense gaze on the Beastman boss, telling her to stay focused and guide him. As he approaches the Dark Fox Beastman boss, their eyes lock with the tension being palpable. Sensing the challenger's intent, the Beastman lunges forward, swinging its massive sword effortlessly. Tsuyoshi narrowly dodges, sweat rolling down his face as he realizes the sword's cold effect will be trouble if it connects. From behind, Sakura's wide puppy dog eyes brim with excitement as she warns Tsuyoshi that the Beastman is not just fast but incredibly strong, its weapon imbued with ice that slows movement and drains stamina on contact. She advises him to exploit weaknesses and finish quickly by adding fire oil to the sword, for fire is its greatest fear. Acknowledging her advice, Tsuyoshi applies the oil, igniting his blade in a fiery blaze. Charging forward, he meets the Beastman head-on. The creature instinctively screams for blood as it swings wildly. He matches its ferocity, growling for the sword. Sakura calls out weak points in the arms and neck, urging him to target those areas. He slashes at the beast's arm, slightly reducing its health. A notification appears showing status change and a cowardice effect which causes double damage and enemy aggression and morale to be significantly reduced with a duration of 15 seconds. Grinning, he seizes the moment, launching another attack while Sakura cheers from behind, warning him that enemies in this state reveal more obvious weak points. She advises Tsuyoshi to dodge carefully and strike with precision. Glancing back, he smirks, silently thanking her for the advice. The Beastman retaliates, swinging its massive blade recklessly. Tsuyoshi dodges effortlessly, grimly thinking that without Sakura's guidance, he would have been finished. Noticing the Beastman panting heavily, he surges forward, holding his sword high, declaring that if it is over for the Beastman, then it is his turn now. Sakura shouts for him to go for the neck, activating Ultimate Physique, boosting his strength by 60% and increasing power output by 200%. He lands a devastating slash to the beast's neck. Another notification appears showing a critical hit which causes triple damage with an effect called debilitation with a duration of 15 seconds. Sakura jumps in excitement, her cheers echoing through the cave, urging him to stay alert until the end. Hearing her encouragement, he leaps into the air, executing a flawless flip, declaring the end. Heaven Shaker unleashes in a finishing blow. The Dark Fox Beastman falls. Sakura, brimming with pride, laughs and cheers. He wipes blood from his face, satisfied with the fight. Holding the scroll, he activates it just in time, golden light enveloping his hand. A notification appears showing high probability drop scroll activated and that the drop rate increased to 96% with a duration of 1 minute. A brilliant golden light appears in his hand, And as hoped, the black cold light sword drops alongside several notifications, showing plus 3,000 experience points with his current experience being 5,430 out of 6,000. It also shows that the Dark Fox Beastman boss has been defeated and an item obtained being the black cold light sword. Overwhelmed with excitement, he exclaims silently while Sakura glows with pride, noting how rare it is to get this weapon on the first try. Ignoring her, he inspects the massive sword, thinking that even with ultimate physique he will be at risk without proper equipment, but this weapon will make him unstoppable. With it, even the 3 crazy wolves will fall. He further remarks that only a little more to reach level 5, and he will hit level 6 by tonight, for both Sakura's sake and his own. Resting the massive sword on his shoulder, he looks at her with a determined gaze, asking if there is anywhere else to level up, needing to hit level 6 fast. Sakura points dramatically toward the sky, explaining reset scrolls shorten respawn time for monsters in caves or dungeons, though effectiveness decreases in higher level or special areas. Since this is a low-level area, monsters will respawn quickly, which is perfect for grinding. She rummages through her bag, pulling out a scroll, declaring it should be enough to reach level 6 but suggesting they take a break first, mentioning she also has healing potions. He glances at her overflowing inventory, impressed. A short while later outside the cave, she holds up the scroll, explaining it has been used and the cave has reset. Grinning, he hoists his sword over his shoulder and strides toward the cave, unable to wait any longer. She follows closely, gripping her hands tightly near her chest. Inside the cave, the grind begins. He tears through Fox Beastmen with ease, the new black cold light sword slowing enemies with its icy effects. Impressed, he thinks the sword is perfect. Sakura explains some weapons have special effects, strength varies, and she is certain he will find even better ones in the future. As he dispatches yet another foe, his thoughts wander to powerful weapons such as the Divine King Hammer, a beastman's secret weapon stored in the Divine Consciousness inventory, but right now, even forcing ultimate physique, he can only manage 1 second at most. If used properly, it would make him invincible. The beastman boss, watching from the shadows, trembles as his onslaught continues. He smirks, voice dripping with confidence, taunting the boss that he has defeated the minions and reached level 5, ready to fight again. Using another scroll, he faces the boss. By the 4th round, he grins cheekily, taunting the Beastman. By the 6th use, the Fox Beastman boss, overwhelmed and terrified, kneels on the ground, handing over its sword. Both he and Sakura freeze in shock, unable to respond. Finally snapping out of it, he grins slightly, finishing the boss with one final blow, leveling up in the process. A notification appears showing level 6 has been reached. It further shows his weapon as Black Cold Light Sword, his copied skills as Heaven Shaker, his power as 7,600 out of 8,800. Wiping the blood from his face, he surveys the defeated beastmen scattered around, realizing he has replenished stamina 6 times today and must have collected the full Fox Beastman gear set by now. Finally, at level 6, his eyes glow with newfound confidence, ready for the trial. The scene shifts to the entrance of the Beastman Combat Academy. 2 Beastman guards sit by a fire, chatting lazily, scoffing at a human wanting to take the trial after reaching level 6, calling him a fool. The other laughs, saying even if he leveled up, who knows when. Besides, only robust warriors could enter the academy. Their banter is interrupted by a calm, confident voice. From the shadows, the figures of Tsuyoshi and Sakura appear. The guards turn pale, confidence crumbling, unable to believe he leveled up twice in a single day. Emerging fully into the light, Tsuyoshi, clad in full wolf beastman armor and resting his sword on his shoulder, shoots the guards a sharp glare and orders them to wake the examiner. He is not waiting until tomorrow, and they should prepare to apologize to Sakura while at it. The referee in charge of the Beastman Warrior Academy admission test storms out looking half asleep and fully annoyed, muttering about a human trial wasting his time. Tsuyoshi stands unfazed, replying that he meets the requirements and wants to choose a skill from the skill vault. The orc says that talking big and just reaching level 6 does not mean passing the trial, but before he continues, another tribesman whispers something in his ear. The orc's eyes widen in disbelief due to the fact that Tsuyoshi went from level 4 to level 6 in less than a day. The orc wonders how that is even possible as Tsuyoshi tilts his head in confusion, telling him not to run away and reminding him he will apologize to Sakura if he passes. The orc, clearly irritated, barks fine but asks where all that confidence comes from as another examiner mutters, trying to keep composure, saying, "Let them do as he says," thinking a human passing a trial made for beastmen is laughable. Just then, a black-robed elder orc enters the scene, being the Academy's combat priest commander. He exudes authority as he announces that if Tsuyoshi has reached level 6, the trial begins. He continues by saying, "Beastmen are a race of strength, and strength is the primary criteria. Passing will earn the right to use the skill vault." The commander gestures to a massive outer stone tablet on the platform, explaining the trial is simple. Tsuyoshi just has to crack the stone slab with a single punch, and the skill vault is his. Tsuyoshi asks if cracking it is all. Meanwhile, the earlier orc snickers, thinking even a level 10 warrior would struggle with that as they normally use regular stones. The system in his mind explains outer stone as a celestial rock used by beastmen to measure strength. Once feared as a bad omen, its hard metal content now prized for crafting weapons. The commander smirks, saying it is easy for a beastman to crack it in one shot, and it is not hard if using a regular stone, but if it is a human, then it is a different story. He winds up and punches the stone with all his might, muscles rippling, as even he at level 20 still needs to give his all. A small crack appears and the commander puffs as he shows the example. Tsuyoshi strides toward the stone slab with unwavering confidence, casually saying, "All right, let him give it a shot." Behind him is Sakura, who cheers with her voice brimming with excitement, urging him to do his best. Facing the slab, he thinks leaving a mark should be easy because thanks to ultimate physique, he can push his power far beyond what is expected at his level. But just to be sure, he fine-tunes it for maximum impact. Lightning crackles around his right arm as ultimate physique activates 50% of strength concentrated in the right arm, allowing tremendous power. The beastmen in the crowd exchange glances, scoffing about how a weak human cannot leave a scratch. But their words are cut short as Tsuyoshi's fist connects with the slab, sending shockwaves rippling through the area. The stone tablet does not just crack, it shatters, scattering dust everywhere. The wind from the punch blows back the onlookers, leaving them stunned and speechless. Tsuyoshi scratches the back of his head awkwardly, muttering and asking if he put too much force into it, and that he was expecting something tougher. Behind him, Sakura clasps her hands, eyes sparkling with admiration as she declares he can now access the skill vault. The beastmen who had insulted Tsuyoshi earlier and the Academy examiner are frozen with their jaws practically on the ground, whispering that it is impossible. The commander, equally shocked, mutters no one below level 10 can do that, and yet Tsuyoshi, unfazed, casually dusts off his hands and smirks. The examiner, now sweating nervously, points shakily and claims he fails, saying he was not looking when Tsuyoshi did it, and that the crack must have been from the demonstration earlier. Tsuyoshi glances at the sweating examiner, tilting his head in confusion, asking what the plan for the trial is now. The examiner, panicking, shouts they will do it over as he says the next trial is the iron bar bending test. His mind flashes to even highly skilled beastmen struggling with the iron bar, but he puffs up his chest, confident as he knows it requires explosive power. Moments later, Tsuyoshi casually bends the steel bar as if it is made of rubber, tossing it aside and looking at the examiner with unimpressed eyes. The examiner, refusing to admit defeat, declares arm wrestling as the next trial. He says that if Tsuyoshi can last 10 seconds against their strongest warrior, he will pass. Tsuyoshi smirks, and to the examiner's dismay, he defeats the beastman warrior, who even the examiner cannot defeat, in an instant. The table does not just break, it explodes from the impact of his strength. The examiner coughs out blood in shock due to being unable to last a second. Tsuyoshi glares angrily, telling them that he has already completed 3 trials. Both the examiner and beastman warrior tremble in fear, sweat pouring down their faces as they confirm that Tsuyoshi has passed. Gently taking Sakura's hand, he walks confidently toward the beastman as he asks him to apologize to her as promised. The beastman scowls but, bound by honor, decides to keep his word. He proceeds to bow slightly, pride clearly wounded, and apologizes. Sakura's cheeks turn soft pink as she brings her hand to her mouth, clearly flustered, saying she never expected it, and it is not normal treatment, so she asks him not to worry. Tsuyoshi turns to her with a calm, firm expression, telling her she does not need to be reserved. He continues by saying it is her right to accept the apology with pride. Her face brightens, glowing as she looks up at him, softly voicing her admiration and turning back to the beastman with confidence now shining through. She decides to accept the apology. Sometime later, the group stands before the skill vault entrance with the examiner pointing at the doors as he explains that only one skill scroll can be taken at a time. Tsuyoshi's expression twists in disbelief as he thinks that the rule is ridiculous. The Beast Man, annoyed, snaps and asks if he thinks he can take whatever he wants, as he explains that the academy has strict rules. The examiner further says that they have 3 minutes to find a skill scroll once inside the vault, and the skill becomes that of Tsuyoshi if the seal is broken within that time, but if time runs out, he shall be expelled. Slightly annoyed, Tsuyoshi mutters about the time limit, the seal, and the expulsion. The examiner explains that the Combat Academy is a significant place representing the region, and that higher-level sorcerers and mages are invited to place seals and barriers to protect the vault. The system explains further that a scroll seal is a magical seal preventing use unless the seal is broken, and that barrier enforces conditions which allow or deny entry to living beings. Tsuyoshi scratches his neck, his expression being a mix of confusion and irritation, as he realizes it is more complicated than expected. Sakura, ever the optimist, chimes in excitedly, saying stricter conditions exist at higher-level combat academies. The vault doors creak open and the examiner gives a warning that stealing a skill will result in immediate expulsion and that they have only 3 minutes to choose and get out. Inside the vault, Tsuyoshi's eyes sparkle, taking in endless shelves of skill scrolls. He jokes, running around in excitement while Sakura examines a scroll, murmuring that it is her first time entering. Each scroll is sealed, but she feels she can break them with brute force. Tsuyoshi grows serious, scanning the scrolls, planning to use absolute duplication, but finding a really good skill proves harder than expected, and he doubts Sakura would allow it due to the need of touching the heart. He clenches his fists, focusing on real-world problems, as he needs a skill to deal with the three. He activates his power with lightning crackling around his hand. The system chimes that the skill information on Shield Slam Strike has been unlocked successfully, with a shield dealing physical damage and causing dizziness, which is suitable for defense-oriented warriors. Tsuyoshi frowns at Shield Slam because he does not even use a shield. From behind, Sakura holds up a scroll on Gale Step, which allows one to move swiftly in order to avoid enemy attacks. It also increases attack speed and is suitable for speed-oriented archers. Tsuyoshi shakes his head because an archer is not his style. Sakura does not give up, suggesting Warcry, which lets out a roar that inspires allies and increases attack and defense, which is a common support skill. He sighs as the time ticks down and panic rises with only 2 minutes left and none of the skills resonate. Sakura, holding another scroll, shouts about a counterattack skill. Tsuyoshi actually thinks that it might work and keeps it as a candidate. The clock ticks closer with 1 minute left as they go through a multitude of skills. Tsuyoshi mutters about the time left as beads of sweat form on his face. Desperate, he turns to Sakura as he decides to use brute force to break the seals in order to check inside the scrolls. He asks about stamina and energy potions, hiding behind something sturdy. Startled, Sakura ducks behind a wall and lightning surges around his hand as he grins, ready for Plan B. Outside the vault, lightning flashes in the sky. The Beastman examiner and the warrior look up in shock. Inside, Tsuyoshi raises his electrified fist, breaking all the seals at once. Sakura, peeking from behind the wall, thinks that even she is overwhelmed by his intensity. Lightning crackles violently around him, and a notification appears stating that due to insufficient level and conditions, he cannot fully unleash the power of the Divine King's hammer, and that forcing the release will consume a vast amount of energy with a duration of 1 second. Clenching his teeth, he shouts with unshakable determination that 1 second is all he needs. Outside the skill vault, big lightning dragons spin into the sky, lighting the place up. The examiner wipes sweat and stares, saying that this can't be normal power. Inside, Tsuyoshi holds the hammer tight, shaking as the power tries to overwhelm him. Lightning lashes around him. Sakura watches from behind a wall, amazed and scared, thinking she would not believe this if she had not seen it. A notification pops up, saying that the Divine King's hammer has activated for 1 second. Tsuyoshi slams the hammer down, saying he will break all the seals at once. The hit sends a lightning shockwave through the vault. The dragons outside disappear. Every sealed scroll starts to spark and glow, and the seals break together. Sakura freezes, stunned that all the skill scrolls broke at once. Tsuyoshi drops to one knee, clutching his hurt hand, then forces a tired smile, saying he did it. Suddenly, a flood of glowing info pours from the broken scrolls into him. His eyes flash as words and images rush into his head. He thinks the info is coming in too fast and asks his mind to give him the strongest skill that fits him. One scroll crackles brighter than the rest and grabs his attention. He tells Sakura to get the scroll on the bottom shelf, third from the back. Sakura runs, finds the scroll, and reads a warning that says that fragmented scrolls need all fragments to reach full power and are usually weak and useless. She worries this is a mistake, but grabs it and brings it back. Tsuyoshi scoops her up and says he can handle a little more. He will get them out. Outside, the examiner watches the clock and says the barrier will kick him out when time runs out. The vault doors crack open, and smoke pours out. Tsuyoshi walks out with the fragmented scroll, calm, saying he is done. The examiner is shocked that he brought a fragmented scroll. The fragment starts to glow and shows its skill. Thunder Chain Fall, a lightning combat magic that hits 3 targets, good for fighters and mages. The examiner says that almost no one tries to learn this in 1,000 years. He explains that the skill comes in 6 volumes, but only 3 fragments ever turned up, and trying to find the rest in the huge world is unrealistic. Also, past users who tried to learn it got unalived by the power when they leveled up, and could not control it. An old beast man in a robe steps forward and says there was one who mastered it long ago, the Divine King, who used the Divine King's hammer. Tsuyoshi jokes that such a skill came with that trash, which angers the old man. The old man says a great skill is nothing if no one can use it, and he scolds Tsuyoshi for mocking the Divine King. He warns that finding the rest or mastering it will take strength and luck. Then he notices Sakura and accuses her of betraying the beastmen, asking if the human will be sacrificed. Sakura snaps that it's none of his business. The old man watches them go and says he will see how far they get. Later in an inn, Tsuyoshi unwraps his bandages and complains about Sakura's healing potion tasting awful, while praising that it works. Sakura seems quiet and tired. Tsuyoshi asks if she is okay and brings up that she was supposed to be executed. She freezes, remembers the cold faces and the words that condemned her, then forces a smile and says not to talk about it. Tsuyoshi says he memorized the scroll and thinks the skill suits him because he has a strong body. He wants to collect the fragments and see the full power. Sakura perks up and says they should go level up. Outside, a notification tells Tsuyoshi the Boundless Ring countdown ended and the Boundless Passage opened. He makes the portal and steps through back to his real world, eyes set on revenge, thinking he told them to remember him and that he will unalive them. Tsuyoshi comes back to his real world in search of revenge. Ahead, the 3 enemies, the bald mage, the instructor, and Musclehead, charge at him fast, so he has to dodge and move around them. He needs a weapon to use his new skill, so he calls up his Divine Consciousness inventory and a bright sword appears, the same one from the Fox Beast Man cave. The bald mage freezes and wonders if Tsuyoshi has a dimensional ring or some kind of new sage jutsu. The instructor narrows his eyes, thinking it looks like a high-quality item to steal. Musclehead just wants to unalive first and split the loot later. Tsuyoshi swings his sword and a huge lightning strike crashes from the sky, hitting all 3 enemies. They barely stay on their feet, with their clothes smoking and all. The instructor goes to his knees and says that he can't move. Tsuyoshi walks toward them with glowing. The bald mage realizes they have misjudged him and tries to call for a retreat, but Musclehead already raises his hands and pretends to surrender. Tsuyoshi does not want mercy, so he slashes Musclehead across the chest and leaves him on the ground, saying he will not forgive those who try to unalive him. The instructor starts to warn him about Crazy Wolf, but Tsuyoshi cuts him down with one clean strike and tells him to shut up and go meet his creator. The bald mage panics and pulls a small round fruit from his pocket, throwing it at Tsuyoshi. The system tells Tsuyoshi it is an adhesive blast fruit that sticks to a target and explodes. Tsuyoshi raises his blade and the fruit sticks to it, then blows up in a loud flash with smoke and debris. The bald mage brags he spent his life savings on those fruits, and even a level 12 hero would be hurt, but Tsuyoshi pulls up out of the smoke, with all his aura intact. He charges and punches through the bald mage's defense, leaving him on the ground. He stands over him and makes it clear he will not let them live. He picks up the sword again and thinks about Crazy Wolf, how weak people get eaten in this world. He notices a small pouch on one corpse, opens it, and finds a ring. The system tells him it is a dimensional ring, a rare item that stores things in another space. He is excited and slips it on. He pours mana into it, and it glows, still new and activating. Tsuyoshi laughs to himself about the lucky find and thanks the dead for the loot. He sees a squad of hero security force members coming and melts into the crowd to avoid them, thinking he has erased his traces and taken everything valuable. He walks away calm and flips a smartphone he took from Gaia, happy that he had bound his info to it, so it is his now. His phone rings, and a voice he knows answers. It is Lily-sensei, worried about him not returning to school after winter break. She reminds him she will try to help with tuition, and tells him not to give up school, to be brave for his sister and himself. Hearing her, Tsuyoshi feels conflicted because she does not know he is a hero now. Her care shakes something in him, and he promises to go back to school the next day, thinking he will not run from his past anymore, and that he will make the bullies pay. Elsewhere, a man in a dim office reads a report about 3 members unalived by an unknown hero and their items stolen. He realizes the dimensional ring he entrusted to them was taken, and he is furious, because he had already put tracking magic on the ring. A device on his desk shows Tsuyoshi's location. He snaps the desk with a fist and orders a line of men in black suits to bring the thief to him, saying Tsuyoshi will not live after stealing from Crazy Wolf. The men answer in unison and leave to find him. Tsuyoshi walks to school with his sister Karina, who now uses braces and a cane to move. He asks if it feels okay, and she says it's fine as long as she walks slowly. She tries to keep up with him while the brace helps her walk, and he tells her not to rush since he knows she's trying too hard. He thinks about how she refused to stay home when she heard he was going back to school, and how he had to help her wear those new braces that cost more than the Beastman's country's economy, but they were still better than a wheelchair, since she would just cry and say he wastes money on her. He remembers buying them with the money he got after beating some bad guys and finding a space ring, and now he's astronomically broke again, but still feels it was worth it, because seeing her walk even a bit makes him happy. He tells her he'll pick her up after school and promises to find a way to fix her legs someday. Not far away, 2 girls are watching them, and one asks who the girl with the metal legs is. The other says it's Karina, the one who got attacked and lost her parents, and her legs got hurt. The first one, Mina, says she should just disappear and calls her a waste, while her friend gets nervous and asks if she's really going to bully her again. Mina just laughs and says she doesn't care, then walks off to meet her boyfriend like she's the queen of the school or something. Later, Tsuyoshi is in the vice headmaster's office, and the man looks annoyed and tells him he should thank Lily-sensei for letting him come back. Tsuyoshi bows, while Lily explains that she's already helped him and paid his fees and will make sure he finishes school. Tsuyoshi thanks them, looking a bit awkward, but the vice headmaster doesn't even care about Tsuyoshi. He's just busy staring at Lily like some creep. When they leave, she tells Tsuyoshi she'll also cover Karina's school fees and tells him to focus on studying. He says sorry for troubling her and promises to pay her back, and she tells him not to worry and to just study hard since exams are coming. She says he looks happier now, and he thinks about how he still hasn't told her that he's a hero, and about how he still has that wolf problem to deal with. She reminds him that his next class is art, so he heads off. In class, a guy named Rayleigh sits at the back with his legs on the desk like he owns the place, and when he sees Tsuyoshi, he laughs and says he thought he got expelled. His friends plan to mess with him after class, and Rayleigh throws a paper ball at Tsuyoshi, but he catches it like it's nothing, and the whole room goes quiet. Tsuyoshi tells him to meet him in the toilet later, and Rayleigh gets mad and storms off. Later, he and his friends block the bathroom and try to attack Tsuyoshi, but he blocks their punches easily like it's nothing and thinks about how strong he's gotten and how he's not scared anymore. He kicks them so hard they fall into the stalls, and they look shocked, like they just saw a ghost. Rayleigh freaks out and runs off with his friends, saying it's not over, and Tsuyoshi just watches them leave, thinking it's good he didn't use full power or they'd probably be dead by now. Meanwhile, in Karina's class, a nice girl helps her carry her notebook and tells her to call if she needs help. Then Mina shows up again and hits the nice girl on the head and pushes her away, saying she wants to talk to Karina. She walks toward Karina with that annoying face, saying she's been bored without her around. Karina looks scared and says she doesn't have any money, and Mina laughs and says she can just sell the braces on her legs. Karina stays quiet while Mina stands there looking all proud, like she just did something cool, when really she just looks stupid. Karina is sitting at her desk, minding her own business, when some girls walk up to her, clearly planning trouble, and she looks scared and says the braces are important because her big brother worked so hard to buy them. She holds them tight like she's trying not to lose them, and one of the girls gives her that annoying look and says, "Oh, so they're important because she can't even walk without them." Karina says yes, and then Mina suddenly stands up and slaps her right in the face and casually walks away like she's the boss when the teacher isn't around. The teacher walks in right after, like nothing even happened, and tells everyone to sit down and start class, like she didn't just walk into a live episode of school bullying. Before leaving her seat, the bully turns back and says that Karina shouldn't try to run home after school because their talk isn't over, and Karina just sits there trying not to cry, saying to herself that she needs to leave as soon as class ends so her brother won't see what happens, and she decides she'll sneak out through the back gate so he won't meet Mina and her group. When the bell rings and class ends, the teacher tells everyone to be careful on their way home, and the students thank her and start leaving. In Tsuyoshi's class, it's the same, and the teacher calls him over and asks if he's getting used to school again. He says yes, and she smiles and says she just wanted to help if he needed anything, and he tells her he's fine, and she says good and tells him to let her know if he's getting bullied again so she can help. But what she doesn't know is that the bullies would be the ones needing help soon. He waves and leaves, and then one of the bullies walks up to Tsuyoshi, looking all nervous and sweaty. He says he wants to apologize for what happened in the toilet and asks him to come with him to talk somewhere else. Tsuyoshi just agrees and asks where, and the boy points down the hall, saying it's over there. But as they walk, the boy suddenly starts acting weird and smirks. Before Tsuyoshi can react, Rayleigh jumps out from a corner holding a wooden stick and swings it, but the stick breaks in half on Tsuyoshi's body, and everyone freezes like what just happened. The boy looks shocked, saying no way he stopped it, and Tsuyoshi turns around with that calm face and says he knew they were up to something, then kicks the boy straight into the wall. The other two rush at him, but he dodges and kicks them too like it's nothing, and they fall on the floor looking half dead. One of them, still holding the bat, tells him to go to hell, and Tsuyoshi just looks at him like he's stupid and says if this wasn't school, he'd be gone already. The boy can't even move because he's so scared, and Tsuyoshi slaps him across the face, knocking him out, then looks down at them, saying they're lucky because heroes don't unalive civilians, and then he remembers he's late to pick up his sister. Meanwhile, Karina is walking slowly down the hallway, trying to reach the back gate, thinking she just needs to get out before Mina finds her. When she reaches the stairs, she stops because it still scares her to walk down, and just as she's trying to calm down, someone pushes her from behind, and she falls all the way down and lands hard. When she looks up, she sees the same black-haired girl from before smiling like she just hit the villain jackpot, and the girl says they already knew she'd try to run through the back gate. She walks closer and starts pulling off the braces from Karina's legs, while Karina bleeds a bit on her forehead and begs her to stop. But the girl just laughs, saying she won't get far without them. At the same time, Tsuyoshi is still standing at the front gate waiting and thinking that Karina's taking too long since her class said she already left. Then Haru, Karina's friend, walks up and asks if he's Karina's brother. He says yes, and she tells him that she thinks Karina went through the back gate and that he should go check. He quickly turns to head there, looking a bit worried, because he knows this can only mean trouble again. After listening to the girl, he starts walking to the back gate down the school hall. He hopes Karina is there and wonders why she's acting so weird, like she's scared or something. He needs to find Karina, and when he arrives at the back gate, he sees her books on the ground, and Karina sitting there with blood on her forehead. He feels really bad for her, and wonders who the hell would have done such. He walks over fast, and Karina, still on the ground, looks up weakly and asks why he is here, but Tsuyoshi does not answer. He turns on his divine eye and the system panel checks her wounds. The system shows head cuts from a fall, several slaps, bruises on her arms and waist, and internal bleeding from kicks. Tsuyoshi walks closer without saying anything. Karina smiles awkwardly and says it is her fault that she fell down the stairs. She says she is stupid because she could not use the stairs right, and the walking stick broke, and she says, sorry. Tsuyoshi kneels, picks up the scattered books and puts them in her bag. He gives the bag back and tells her that they're family and that she is not a burden. It must hurt to fall like that, but Karina shakes her head and says she is fine and tells him not to worry. She asks about the braces. Tsuyoshi holds her hand and says they are fine, so she breathes out and is glad. Tsuyoshi says it's time to go home and carries her on his back. As they walk, he looks at the setting sun and remembers carrying her once before. He says he can feel how much she has grown. Karina says it feels like yesterday and that they are always together. Tsuyoshi says she is the only one he has and that he got stronger to protect her. He says he was a powerless loser then, but now he is as OP as a shonen hero and will not let it happen again. Karina says she knows he does his best and she does not want to be a burden, but Tsuyoshi puts her on a bench and tells her to wait a bit. He says he will be back soon. Karina asks where he is going, but he just says he forgot something and walks away. In the classroom, a yellow-haired boy and Mina talk. Mina says it was fun watching Karina try to keep her braces, that she was open for a kick, and that they could sell the braces for money. The dude agrees and says he will get them tomorrow. The dude asks if the braces are sellable, and Mina's friend licks her lollipop and says she heard Karina's brother Tsuyoshi came back to school and asks if that is a problem. Mina laughs and calls Tsuyoshi a loser who got kicked out and became a cleaner. She calls them both garbage man and a disabled, so it's embarrassing to be in the same class as them. They say Karina used to be popular. Lots of boys liked her, because she's very cute. The dude suddenly gets interested when he hears that she's cute, but Mina gets angry and tells him not to talk like that because he's her ping-ting. He tells her not to be mad and asks to steal the braces tomorrow so they can sell them. Tsuyoshi stands outside and hears them. He gets real mad quick. The blonde dude says it is an easy job against a crippled girl. Tsuyoshi bursts into the classroom and everyone is shocked. Mina's boyfriend asks who he is. Tsuyoshi goes straight to them and asks if they hurt Karina, saying she said she fell down the stairs. Mina gets all smirky and asks if he came for revenge. Her boyfriend, Billy, crosses his arms and mocks Tsuyoshi for being a garbage man and brags about being Billy the Great, saying Mina only played a little game with Karina. Tsuyoshi stays calm and asks if they pushed the crippled girl down the stairs. Billy mocks him and asks if he has any complaints or if he is apologizing. Mina laughs and says it is easy to show him his place. Suddenly, Tsuyoshi grabs Billy's finger and bends it until it breaks. Billy yells and holds his hand, and Mina asks what just happened. Tsuyoshi closes the door and says he is not letting any of them leave. With the system's help, Tsuyoshi checks the group and finds out none of them are heroes. The system even confirms it. No jobs, no threats, just regular idiots. Mina stammers, asking what he's doing, while Tsuyoshi drops his bag on a table and walks toward them. He thought they were heroes because of how bossy they act, but turns out they're just picking on people for fun. Billy still holds his broken finger and shouts in pain. Mina rushes to him, and Billy tries to sound tough, saying something about his dad. Vivian steps up all confident, saying he must be Karina's big brother. She starts bluffing, saying that they might not be heroes, but they're also not people he should mess with. Before she finishes, Tsuyoshi punches her straight in the face and she flies off like a bad movie stunt double. She crashes at a locker, and he looks down at her like she's a failed boss fight. Mina gasps and runs to her. Billy freezes and starts thinking how no sports student could move that fast. He has no idea what's going on. Tsuyoshi looks at Mina, ignores Billy, and says he doesn't even see them as women, which honestly makes them panic more. Billy tries again with the same line about his dad, but before he finishes, Tsuyoshi punches him so hard some of his teeth go missing. He tells him to shut up and says he'll deal with him later. Mina screams his name, but Tsuyoshi grabs her by the neck and pins her to the wall. She tries to talk, but he just says he heard she was the one bullying Karina and that he won't forgive her. His eyes start glowing, and the girl starts panicking for real. He tells her to stay away from Karina and doesn't expect an apology, just distance. She agrees like her life depends on it, which it kinda does right now. He lets her drop to the floor and turns to Billy, asking if he's the girl's boyfriend. He picks up a steel ruler from a desk and asks if he still wants to bully Karina. Billy starts shaking and begging, but Tsuyoshi raises the ruler like a sword and says, "Even this cheap thing is enough for garbage like him." Billy blurts out that his dad is the leader of the Blue Shark Gang and a level 10 hero. Tsuyoshi freezes for a second when he hears the name and remembers the Blue Snake Gang that once came to the hospital asking for Karina's medical bills. His anger rises, and he says it's funny how life keeps bringing him the same annoying people. Billy realizes he messed up big time and starts shaking. Tsuyoshi swings the ruler and lightning flashes, hitting Billy like karma itself. The system pops up saying damage is reduced because it's not a real weapon. Tsuyoshi doesn't care. He throws the ruler toward Billy and says this pain should be enough. He picks up his bag and heads to the door, saying this is their last warning and they better keep their promise. Then he stops for a second and says they should clean the classroom before he leaves. Billy just lies on the ground, still in shock, mumbling if he's gone. Mina helps him up and says they should go to the hospital, but Billy angrily says no, he just needs rest. He didn't know the guy was a hero. The girl with a scar on her neck now gets mad and asks what he's going to do, saying this isn't over and he should make Tsuyoshi pay. Billy yells at her to shut up and says his dad will handle it. He stares at the door and says he'll wipe out Tsuyoshi and his sister. The girl smiles like a cartoon villain and tells him to make sure of it. Meanwhile, Karina waits for her brother, looking at the sky and hoping he's okay. She feels bad because she thinks she's making his life harder, and she wishes she could take care of herself so he wouldn't worry so much. Just then, she hears his voice calling her. She turns and sees him kneeling in front of her, apologizing for making her wait. He tells her to hop on his back, saying he'll carry her home so she brightens up, and says she'll carry his bag. As they head home, Tsuyoshi keeps thinking about Billy's father being a level 10 hero and how this might get worse. Billy would probably go crying to his dad like the big baby he is, and the gang will come for them both. He knows Karina is in danger too, so he can't let his guard down one bit. He walks down the street, feeling it's time to go back to the other world to get stronger. He won't let anyone hurt Karina again. When he arrives, the useful Sakura greets him, all happy, and says they've reached the Northern Inn. She tells him that he can now take real quests and needs to register at the Adventurer Guild. There's also a tavern, a blacksmith, and a tool shop. Tsuyoshi gets all excited like he's about to enter a fun new level. Finally, some real experience and battles. He smiles and says it's time to get started. Tsuyoshi and Sakura finally reach the big Beastman city in the north, standing at the edge while checking out everywhere. Tsuyoshi is amazed by how many Beastman tribes are walking around. Sakura tells him that each tribe has its own thing they're good at, and as they walk, he spots something weird among the crowd: humans. He points them out, surprised, since it's the first time that he's seen humans since coming to this world. Sakura tells him that cities like this usually have all kinds of people. It's a melting pot, though most are beastmen. But she warns that fights outside the arena are a no-go here. Tsuyoshi says it's fine, and walks up to the humans excitedly like he's meeting old friends. But they don't share the same energy, though. The humans instantly reach for their weapons like he's about to rob them. Sakura jumps in before anything happens, and tries to calm things down. The humans look at her strangely, whisper something to themselves, and walk off like they've seen a ghost. Sakura tells him not to greet random adventurers inside the city, especially humans, since they're always suspicious of everyone. Tsuyoshi looks around again and notices the crowd whispering about them. Sakura says it's because she's half beastman, and people here don't really like hybrids that much. He says that they should ignore everyone and focus on registering at the Adventurers Guild. She agrees, and they head there together. When they arrive, Tsuyoshi gets excited seeing the giant quest board like he finally lives in an anime, and Sakura reminds him that they need to register first before touching any quests. So they go to the front desk where a beastman receptionist looks at them curiously. She sees their mix as an odd combo but doesn't question it much. So she hands Tsuyoshi a form, asking for his name and class. While he fills it in, she tells him that once registered, their info will be shared across all guilds, so they can take quests anywhere. Sakura reminds him that registration is the only way to get the Adventurer's badge. The receptionist shows them the badge, saying that it's the lowest rank, Iron, and that ranks go up to Bronze, Silver, then Gold, the top one only a few reach. She also mentions that the badge can hide or show a person's level depending on their choice. Tsuyoshi gets curious and tries it out, and with his divine selection system, he learns how instantly. The receptionist is shocked because most beginners struggle with it, and suddenly, a group of loud beastmen barges in, shoving Tsuyoshi aside like he's a movie prop, throwing some materials on the desk, and bragging about their completed quest while Aslo trying to flirt with the receptionist. She ignores them, and tells them about a new emergency quest with a big reward but a high danger level. The warriors hesitate when they hear it involves carnivorous darklings that already injured other parties. They start backing out, saying that the monsters sound too strong. That's when our boy Tsuyoshi grabs the scroll from the desk and says they'll do it. The warriors aren't very happy that some random newbie just cut in, so they mock him, calling him trash and telling him not to take quests above his level. Tsuyoshi tells them to shut up since they clearly can't handle it. He challenges them to settle things in the arena if they doubt him. The receptionist steps in and warns that even if he's brave, the quest giver might reject low-level adventurers. So the warriors laugh and tell him to start from the bottom like he's mining gravel in Minecraft. Suddenly, Sakura steps forward and accepts the quest herself, saying that they'll take responsibility. The whole guild goes mute until one warrior laughs and says a half-breed like her can't even talk big until she pulls out her golden badge, and then the warriors freeze. The receptionist looks impressed and immediately approves the request for them. The beastmen quietly drag their embarrassing selves out of the guild, while Tsuyoshi teases them on their way out. Sakura tells him that the quest should help him level up, and he agrees with her. The receptionist watches them go, wondering what kind of person Tsuyoshi is if a gold-rank adventurer is calling him master. Later, the two walk through a forest toward the farm where the darklings have been causing chaos. Sakura reads the request paper while explaining the situation, and Tsuyoshi tells her that he didn't know she was a gold-rank adventurer. Sakura replies that she joined when she was young and did a lot of quests over time until she earned the rank. Tsuyoshi finds that really impressive, and tells her so. She smiles, and thanks him. Eventually, they arrive at a small farmhouse surrounded by fields. Sakura looks around and says that this should be the place, and she adds that their opponents seem quite strong. Sometime later, Tsuyoshi and Sakura stand at the gate looking at the creepy black monsters inside. Sakura looks at them and says they are level 10 Dark Eaters. Tsuyoshi looks at them with disgust and says they are really ugly. Sakura explains that they are made of darkness, and that darkness can change living things into more monsters like itself. Weak ones even lose their minds, just like those dark goblins she once saw. These ones used to be slimes before darkness took over them, which explains why they still look like slime blobs that melt in slow motion like pudding in the sun. Tsuyoshi looks at them and says they must be dark slimes then, and the only way to beat them is with thunder. He gets excited like some overconfident anime hero and says his thunder chain fall skill will destroy them easily. He starts to gather lightning in his hand, clearly feeling like Pikachu with main character energy, but just when he is about to rush in, Sakura pulls him back and says he should not do this alone. Tsuyoshi looks confused, but Sakura tells him that this fight could easily kill him. This place isn't like the easy beginner zones anymore. One dark slime is fine, but a whole bunch of them could crush him like a pancake. She tells him even the group called Death Party looked scared when they took this job. Adventurers die all the time, but she doesn't want him to throw his life away just to level up. Tsuyoshi says he has 2 questions. He thinks about the Beastman King and the trial that will come in a year, then asks how strong he needs to be to prove himself. Sakura looks shocked and says it is impossible to reach that level in just 1 year. Tsuyoshi looks lost and asks why. She says that even staying alive for a year would be hard enough, and that the Beastman could use divine judgment to wipe him out any time. She asks if he even knows about level rules. He asks her to explain. She says adventurers can only reach level 100 at most, and that the Beastman King is level 92, which is insane. The top kings of each race are the strongest alive, and she explains that no matter how much one trains, there is a point where progress just stops. The higher the level, the slower the growth. She tells him she has been an adventurer for 20 years and still hasn't passed level 72, no matter what she tries. Everyone has a limit, and for him to pass the Beast King's trial, he will need to reach level 50, which is basically impossible in a single year. Even a normal adventurer would need their whole life for that. Tsuyoshi stays quiet for a bit, then smiles like a guy who hears all that and still doesn't care. Sakura looks worried but says she will stay by his side anyway. Before she can finish, Tsuyoshi says he is no normal adventurer. He says he has survived divine judgment, lifted a divine hammer, and got this weird system that chose him. He says everything is possible for him because the system makes it so. Sakura looks at him like a legendary fangirl moment and says that he'll become a legend one day. Tsuyoshi activates his lightning power, holding his sword like some anime protagonist about to enter opening theme mode. He says he is ready, and then asks his second question. He asks how strong he should be if he has to fight a level 10 warrior and his whole squad at once. Sakura thinks for a bit and says he will need to be at least level 12. Tsuyoshi looks at the monsters and says he'll reach level 12 in a week, like he just made a grocery list. Then the system pops up with his stats. He is level 6, warrior class, using the Fox Beastman set, with the black freezing flash sword, and skills like Thunder Chainfall and Heaven Shaker. Tsuyoshi walks into the dark place, and all the slimy monsters turn to him. Sakura stays behind watching. He holds his sword, thinking he'll use his system fully this time. Using his divine eye, he sees that their weak spot is the slime core, which glows when damaged. He says hitting that with thunder will finish them fast. He jumps high into the air like he is in Dragon Ball and goes for it. Sakura yells that the monsters could corrupt anything they touch, but Tsuyoshi charges anyway. He finds the first one's weak spot and says he can take a hit. Activating his physique, he slashes one in half easily, feeling proud like a hero finishing an episode. But then the monster regenerates instantly, which makes him pause like when a boss refills its health bar. It isn't full though, so he notices its MP is low. The monster jumps at him, and he blocks with his knife, saying to himself that it picked the wrong snack today. He uses all his strength and splits the monster apart again. Sakura is shocked seeing his strength and thinks he really is someone who could make the impossible happen. But then the monster tries to heal again, and this time, its core shows up under its tongue. Tsuyoshi wastes no time, stabs the core and activates Thunder Chainfall. Lightning blasts through it, and the monster explodes into nothing. Tsuyoshi looks back at Sakura all confident, feeling that this job will be easy peasy. Tsuyoshi looks at the dead monster on the ground, his face calm, but serious. Most of the dark slimes outside are gone now, and he feels a bit proud, but when he looks at his hand, his smile fades. Sakura was right. The higher his level goes, the harder it becomes to grow stronger. Weak monsters give almost no experience now, like eating plain rice after tasting ramen for the first time. The system pops up again with a message that says he needs over 3,000 more points for the next level. He sighs inside. These monsters give way less than normal ones, so leveling up like this will take forever. Even though it's still faster than back in his old world, it's far from enough, so he needs a new plan. He thinks that he has to reach level 12 in less than a week and level 20 within a year no matter what. He rubs his head, trying to shake off the stress, and asks Sakura if she still has any thunder ointment left, because that stuff works like magic. Sakura, holding her little pouch, smiles proudly. She says she has 4 left and had prepared them for both of them before they came. Tsuyoshi wipes his face with a towel and gives her a playful look. She really comes prepared like always, buying the thunder oil early. He says they should stock up next time since fire oil was super useful before. Sakura just laughs softly and then pulls some papers from her bag, ready to give him a money lecture like a school teacher in an anime. She says he doesn't have any money, so she'll explain. Tsuyoshi blinks in confusion like a kid who forgot his homework. Sakura sighs and says thunder oil is rare, and each bottle costs 30 silver coins. For small jobs like monster cleanups, the reward is usually under 1 gold coin, depending on the work. Tsuyoshi starts to listen like a real student now, agreeing like he finally understands how the world works. Sakura keeps explaining, saying cleanup requests give anywhere from 50 silver to 3 gold coins depending on difficulty. The one they're on now should give about 3 gold coins. But long story short, they're broke. The reward will only come after the job is done, and for now, their wallets are crying. Tsuyoshi looks at her and makes a face, saying she sounds like a wife who handles all the house bills. He quickly brushes it off and rests his sword on his shoulder, saying the boss is probably in the food warehouse, the only place left. Time to wrap things up. Sakura cheers for him, ready to back him up. But just when they're about to enter, someone yells at them to stop. A group of beastmen come out led by a farmer-looking guy. The farmer says it's his farm and asks what a human and a half-dead-looking girl are doing there. A deer beastman sniffs around and says he can smell thunder. He guesses they've already taken out the dark slimes, but a leopard beastman crosses his arms and laughs, saying that's impossible for just 2 people. Then, a young green beastman yells that Tsuyoshi's team must be after the cardiolist drop, which his group already claimed. Tsuyoshi looks totally lost because he has no idea what a cardiolist is. Sakura suddenly freezes and asks in shock if the B-boss drops that. The farmer confirms it and says he's the one who made the request to the guild, but didn't think adventurers would come this fast. Hearing that, both Tsuyoshi and Sakura look at each other as the beastman group gets ready to fight. The leopard beastman aims his bow and tells them to leave if they don't want trouble. Tsuyoshi gets into position, still confused. He asks Sakura again what the cardiolist is, and she says that it's a rare item dropped by dark bosses. When purified, it can connect with dark zones where experience and drop rates are 10 times higher. She says if sold, it'll go for 100 gold coins, and after purification, 150. Tsuyoshi is surprised that it's that much. He decides right there that they have to get it. Before either side can attack, the farmer steps between them, saying both sides should prove themselves by fighting the boss, and whoever kills it first gets the reward. Sakura's eyes turn sharp. She asks to go first, thinking she has to win it for Tsuyoshi's sake. But the tall beast man laughs and says no, his group came first. The farmer agrees. The beastmen start getting pumped up, ready to go all out. But before they enter, Sakura calmly analyzes them like an anime strategist, pointing out they have a full balanced team, so if they work well, they'll win for sure. Tsuyoshi crosses his arms and then smirks. He steps forward and says he has an idea. He says he'll go in alone first. Everyone blinks, confused. Then he says if he loses, his team will give up the request. But if he wins, the reward is his. They all go quiet for a moment before bursting out laughing. A level 6 adventurer going in alone against a boss that's strong is suicide. They laugh so hard they nearly fall. Tsuyoshi ignores them and walks toward the warehouse. Sakura looks worried and calls out, saying the boss is level 12 at least, plus corrupted by darkness. But he turns and winks at her with a smile, telling her to believe in him. She smiles softly, saying she believes. The beastmen just laugh harder, saying they'll be ready to pick up his body soon. But Tsuyoshi doesn't care. He says quietly that they'll see who gets killed, him or the boss. When he enters the house, his whole aura changes. Even the beastmen outside feel the pressure and get chills. Inside, he looks at the monster waiting for him. It's a huge, slimy thing with red glowing eyes, just like the others, but way bigger and uglier. The beastmen outside freak out when they see it through the window, saying he'd need to be at least level 23 to stand a chance. Sakura's outside, worried sick. One of the beastmen mocks her, saying she should get ready to collect his corpse. She turns her head slowly, like she's about to blow a fuse, and the beastmen freeze in fear, like they've just looked at a final boss. Inside, Tsuyoshi stands still, holding his sword as blue lightning sparks around him. He can tell this one is much stronger than the others. The blue lightning fades and turns into gold light around his hands, as a system message appears. It says the Divine King Hammer has been taken out, but can only be used for 1 second before draining all his energy. He bites his teeth and makes up his mind. 1 second will be enough. He jumps high into the air with the golden hammer glowing bright. Outside, the sky darkens as a giant thunder dragon forms in the clouds, shocking everyone. Then lightning strikes down, destroying the whole house in one hit. The ground shakes, and everything goes silent. Sakura's heart nearly stops. She runs to the ruins, worried he might be gone. The beastmen stand frozen, and the farmer just stares at his destroyed warehouse like he's just lost his life savings. Sakura digs through the rubble until a weak hand comes out. It's Tsuyoshi. He's barely standing, his body thin and drained like all his energy has been sucked away, but he's still alive. In his hand is a glowing blue crystal leaking black smoke. He raises it weakly and smiles because that's the cardio list they've all been fighting for. And then the system pops up again, showing Tsuyoshi's current stats. The Adventurer Guild is full of noise as people talk and laugh. Behind the counter, the lady at the desk looks happy when Sakura walks in. She gives her a small bag of money for the quest. Everyone in the guild already talks about how strong Sakura is, but Sakura shakes her head a bit and says it was her master who did everything. She says she couldn't even beat that boss if she tried. The lady looks at her like she just said she's Goku's cousin. She says the boss was a level 14 monster that eats people for breakfast, and Sakura is just level 6. She even points to Tsuyoshi sleeping on a bench, looking like he just fought a whole Pokemon army alone. Sakura just smiles and says her master really did fight it alone, which is why he's so tired. The lady gives up, lights her smoke pipe, and says no way that dude did it all by himself. But then, like anime timing magic, Tsuyoshi suddenly glows a little, like someone just clicked revive on him. He jumps up all shiny and heroic like All Might after a power nap. He walks to Sakura and the lady, still rubbing his head like he got hit by a truck. He asks if they found out anything about a rare thing called cardio list. The lady looks shocked, saying it could sell for a huge price at auction, but Sakura says she won't sell it. She wants to use it for purification instead, so she asks if the Shaman Guild needs a letter for that. The lady looks kind of sad now, like someone just told her her favorite anime got cancelled. She says yes, cardio list must be cleaned by magic first, and only shamans can do that. She then tells them the Shaman Guild is in the east, and writes a referral letter. She warns it's exam time, so they might not let her in, but still gives the letter anyway. Sakura thanks her, and Tsuyoshi gets curious when he hears about exams. She tells her that shamans are like top-tier support characters in games. They have ranks from white to gold, and their magic items are so powerful that they can change a battle. Some can even raise adventurers' level limits. That makes Tsuyoshi freeze a bit, thinking how crazy that power sounds. Sakura says there's even a story about a warrior who made a silver-rank shaman mad, and the shaman called a whole raid party of level 80s to take him down. The lady soon comes back with the letter, gives it to Sakura, and wishes them luck. Then the story jumps to the Shaman Guild, where a big crowd of nervous people stand waiting for exams. Sakura and Tsuyoshi walk up and see how packed it is. Sakura says most of the people there are from big families or magic schools. Then she drags Tsuyoshi to line up since they have a referral letter. At the door stands a beastman shaman who looks like he hasn't smiled since birth. Sakura asks him about the purification, but he just laughs and says, "No way, it's exam day, so only shamans can enter." Sakura stays calm and shows the letter, but he smacks it away like he's swatting a fly. He tells them to get lost. That's when Tsuyoshi steps up like an anime main character about to throw hands. He says they won't leave because they have the right to enter. The beastman finds that funny and mocks him, saying the guild holds the power here. Just when it looks like things might go full Dragon Ball, an old beastman comes out. He's clearly the boss, with long hair, a big beard, and the kind of staff that says, "I one-shot bosses." Everyone calls him President Doug. The rude beastman bows quick and tells Doug what happened, blaming Sakura and Tsuyoshi for causing trouble. Doug looks at Tsuyoshi and says he can't purify anything right now because it's exam day, so he tells them to come back later. Tsuyoshi looks stressed, thinking he doesn't have that kind of time. He asks if there's another way. Doug thinks for a moment and says that if Tsuyoshi takes the exam and gets the best score, he'll allow it. But as a warrior, he doesn't even qualify. People around start laughing like it's a comedy show, and Doug says that to be a shaman, you must have magic talent and know how to make potions and items. Tsuyoshi asks to borrow Doug's staff, and the rude beastman loses it, asking if he's stupid, but Tsuyoshi just keeps his hand out. Doug gets curious and gives him the staff, saying he wants to see what this warrior can do. Sakura looks worried, but knows her master always pulls off something wild, so Tsuyoshi steps up to the rude beastman and suddenly slaps his chest. The guy jumps back like he just got hit with a fruity Windows update, and Tsuyoshi is now thinking about how he can copy magic skills using duplication. A small system message appears in front of him, saying that the absolute duplication has been activated. He looks at the beastman's skills and finds one called Shining Support that makes a bright flash to blind enemies for a few seconds. Tsuyoshi selects it, and the staff starts glowing while his body shines like he's about to power up. Tsuyoshi just keeps standing there, glowing like a bootleg Super Saiyan, proving he's no normal warrior at all. He blasts the light at President Doug, but Doug blocks with his shield and tells him that it's not enough. Our boy Tsuyoshi uses ultimate physique to enhance the magic, and it gets so powerful that it shatters Doug's shield, and Doug immediately acknowledges him and tells him that he's fit for the shaman exam. Over at the quiet exam hall, Someone in the crowd looks at Tsuyoshi and wonders how a human can take the shaman exam too. Another person says it must be a joke since humans should take the pharmacist exam. Then another person says this is the first time ever. The noise makes Tsuyoshi turn to look. He feels everyone's eyes on him, and they all look like they already don't like him. Sakura says he is the first human to ever take the shaman exam, so people think he wants to start trouble. Tsuyoshi gets excited fast when he hears that. He asks if he is really the first, and Sakura says yes. She says humans have their own job called pharmacists, while beastmen and elves have shamans and awakeners. It is not against the rules for him to join, but people just don't do it. She says these groups have their own sides, so a human coming here looks like he wants to fight. Tsuyoshi says he only wants his cardiolus cleaned, not to cause problems. Sakura says there is no rule against it, so he can do what he wants. Then two beastmen start talking. The young one says letting a human join might make their group look weak, and he even says the human might not know how to make potions since he has no staff. The old beastman, President Doug, says he already gave him one and that the exam is to test skill, not race. Doug remembers the first time he saw the human use magic and how strong it felt, something only seen before in a genius called Kevin. The vice president laughs and says there is no way that weak human can be like Kevin's new student. Doug asks if that new student is here, and the vice president says yes. Her name is Fulin. The crowd talks about her being a genius who made potions last year but was too young to join. This time she wants to be first. Fulin shuts her book and says the others are too noisy. The vice president says the exam is about to start. Everyone not taking part should leave, and the rest should go to their number spots. Tsuyoshi looks at his card, sees 15, and walks over, feeling calm but a bit excited, and Sakura says she will wait outside. President Doug asks if everyone is ready. He says they must make potions on their own to show their skill. The floor shakes and tables rise in front of each person. Tsuyoshi looks at his table, surprised. Fulin looks at him and says he doesn't even know what a refining table is. Maybe he should leave. He feels annoyed but says nothing and looks closely at how the table works. He thinks about how potion making in this world looks old compared to his old world with machines. Then the vice president, whose name is Pig, lifts his staff and hits the floor. A yellow circle spreads out around everyone. Tsuyoshi's paper shines and shows the task. Make 3 basic energy potions in 1 hour. People start to panic, not sure which things to pick. Tsuyoshi looks around and wonders how many don't know this. Fulin starts working fast, picking the right herbs, crushing them, and mixing them perfectly. The judges talk quietly, saying she really is a genius. She keeps working and soon her potions glow bright green. The old beastman says refining is the hardest part, but she makes it look easy. He thinks she's gonna win, then he sees Tsuyoshi has not started yet and gets confused. Fulin finishes and waits all proudly. She sees that Tsuyoshi is still looking at her and gets mad. Just then, his system shows a message saying the scan is done, and he starts working calmly. Fulin tells him to hurry but then stops when something happens. The judges and crowd stare as his magic activates. His staff shines and a message asks if he wants to make the action better. He agrees. All the materials fly into the air, spinning fast around him. The system says the right ones have been picked and crushed and are being refined all at once. The whole room goes mute, and Fulin is also very much in awe. The vice president says he is taking the same steps at the same time, just like Kevin did in his old exam. President Doug looks amazed and thinks maybe this human is close to Kevin's level. Tsuyoshi stays calm, holding his staff steady while the glowing materials spin and mix in the air like he just hit his final form. Outside the shaman guild, Sakura stands alone holding her chest like she is trying to stop her heart from running away. She looks worried, thinking about her master inside the exam. She keeps thinking he will be fine, but her face still looks a bit sad. She wonders if he will have trouble making potions. While inside, Tsuyoshi is fully focused, mixing stuff like a pro gamer with his system beside him. Then a message pops up saying something about optimization. Tsuyoshi smiles a little, holds his staff, and feels like he has done this 1,000 times already. He starts feeling good, thinking that potion making is actually fun when done right. Then another message pops up about the last step, which is when a shaman uses magic to finish the potion. The quality depends on the shaman's power, so yeah, no pressure. Tsuyoshi starts sweating a bit, staring at 3 unfinished potions. He knows he must use his magic right to turn them into real potions. A beast girl named Fulin watches him like she just saw a ghost. She can't believe a human is faster than her. Then she remembers something about a guy named Master Kevin, who did something similar in his exam. The old beastman, the president of the guild, also remembers that moment, rubbing his beard like some wise anime grandpa. He recalls Kevin making a C-grade potion that shocked everyone. Then the vice president, Pig, tries to act all calm, but is secretly jealous. He says it's rare for a human to make a C-grade potion, but in his mind, he's crying because he can barely make a D-grade one. C-grade potions are the good stuff, usually made by skilled shamans. It's like going from regular Super Saiyan to Super Saiyan Blue. The system then says it's going to predict the potion's grade. Tsuyoshi waits, and boom, it says D-grade. He thinks it's fine for passing, but then he looks at Fulin, and his pride wakes up. He decides to aim for a C-grade even though he doesn't really know what that means. Classic main character move. He starts thinking about how to make the potion better and remembers that magic strength and type affect the grade, so he decides to boost his magic using ultimate physique. The guild president notices he's hesitating and starts worrying. Pig laughs to himself thinking Tsuyoshi has already failed. Fulin gets mad at him for being slow. The pressure is crazy, people even start mocking him, but Fulin slaps one of them away, telling them not to distract him. Tsuyoshi suddenly remembers something important. His Divine King hammer had lightning magic before, so he tries to copy that. He takes a deep breath and focuses, ready to risk it all. The guild president senses something weird, and Pig keeps talking trash. But Tsuyoshi's eyes light up blue like he just powered up, and lightning sparks around him. The other participants can't believe what they're seeing. His system starts throwing messages like fireworks. His power goes up, his magic changes to lightning, but only for a few seconds. He decides that's enough time, so he raises his staff high and shouts the last step, finishing the potion with lightning shooting everywhere like Thor's having a party. When he's done, he's sweating like crazy, but proud. The potion is done. Vice President Pig loses his fake smile, looking shocked. Even the old beastman looks confused, but impressed. He thinks he just saw something impossible. Tsuyoshi, on the other hand, does not realize how wild that was. The president stops everyone's work and starts checking potions. Most of them are bad, some are okay, one even smells like burnt bread. Vice President Pig roasts a guy for failing, and the guy acts like he just lost his backstory. Then it's Fulin's turn. Her potion smells good and looks clean. The result is C-grade, and the crowd goes crazy, calling her a genius like her master Kevin. She feels proud and all smug, thinking she already won. Then it's Tsuyoshi's turn. Pig expects another D-grade, but when the old beastman opens his potion, lightning shoots across the sky like Zeus just liked his post. The old man yells that this means it's at least B-grade. People are shocked, and even Fulin can't believe it. The president announces that this human might be even scarier than Kevin. Tsuyoshi just wipes his sweat thinking potion exams are tiring, and the president then proudly says Tsuyoshi came first. Outside, Sakura sits waiting like a kid waiting for the ice cream truck. She looks really restless until she hears her master's voice. She turns and sees him waving happily, looking proud. She jumps up, excited to see him. She feels like she waited forever. He tells her he passed and even got first place. She gets extremely overjoyed. Then the old beast man walks up holding something special and says, since Tsuyoshi came first, he'll grant his wish. Vice President Pig asks who taught him, and Tsuyoshi says he learned alone, which makes everyone's brains crash for a second. The president then tells him to follow for the purification process and his reward. Everyone starts leaving except Fulin, who stands there angry and saying to herself that she failed her master Kevin. Sakura hears the name and looks at her with a dark expression like she just found her next rival. She stares so hard that Fulin could probably feel it in her soul. Tsuyoshi notices her strange look, asks if she's okay, and she pretends like she's fine. He smiles and walks off, saying they have another goal ahead, and Sakura follows. Over at the ritual room, there's ritual stuff all over the floor, and the old beast man Doug stands at the center, doing ritual stuff. He summons a huge yellow magic circle that appears on the ground. Tsuyoshi watches the Cardiola's pulse with light, feeling the power. Vice President Pig says that the Cardiola's has dark energy and needs a special ritual. Lucky that the chairman is handling it. Tsuyoshi keeps his eyes on the floating Cardiolas, thinking about how serious this is. Sakura stands nearby and explains that shamans are like special magic people. Strong magic takes long to work, and this ritual is a very special type of magic. Doug taps the floor again, making the spell stronger, and the Cardiolas glows even brighter. He picks it up and hands it to Tsuyoshi. Put your power in it, and you can use it. Tsuyoshi grabs it, happy and excited. Doug talks about the Cardiola's grades. There is low, medium, and high. Even low can kill adventurers in the dark area. Tsuyoshi's is medium. His eyes widen, and he smiles. Lucky. That means he will get more experience. Doug warns the dark area is very hard, not like beginner zones. He says a party should have a tank, a warrior, a defensive magic user, and a healer. Tsuyoshi points at himself and says he will go alone. Sakura waves her hand and says she will not join because the experience will be split. Doug and Pig stare in shock. A portal appears, swirling with dark energy. Doug explains they get 3 tries inside. Each time, new darkness comes. After that, they leave, and the Cardiolas burns to ash. Pig warns if you die, your body disappears. Tsuyoshi smiles, not planning to leave like that. Sakura gives him a bag of potions she stocked from past quests. Doug asks about using magic without a staff. Tsuyoshi ignores him, pulls his sword from his inventory, puts it on his shoulder, and says he is a warrior. A note pops up informing that Cardiola's used 1 of 3. He steps into the portal, and Sakura whispers for him to be safe. Pig and Doug finally realize he chose to be a warrior, despite his magic talent. Doug wonders how far he will grow. Tsuyoshi appears in a dark forest. Trees are huge, leaves moving though there is no wind. A note shows 12 hours for each try. He runs deeper into the forest. He crouches behind a bush and sees dark wolves eating something. Their black fur is shiny, eyes red, and teeth dripping blood. Tsuyoshi knows wolves attack in packs. He jumps, sword ready, body surging with power. He swings and kills all the wolves in one move. Blood sprays everywhere. One falls twitching. A note pops up saying that he has defeated Dark Wolf, 500 XP. Tsuyoshi smiles because XP here is higher than in the outside world. 2 wolves attack next. He blocks, noticing the paralysis effect wears off fast. Darkness monsters are strong. The wolves move so fast he barely dodges. One uses its friend as a shield to attack from the side. Tsuyoshi uses strong power, swings, and stops the attack. He points his sword at the last wolf, grinning, thinking he will level up fast. Outside, Sakura and Doug wait silently. Doug asks if she is worried. She does not answer, eyes locked on the portal. Doug says going alone is almost suicide. Sakura simply trusts her master. Pig shakes his head, thinking of all the strong kids who died from arrogance. He walks away. Inside, Tsuyoshi rests on dead wolves, all sweaty. He drinks energy and stamina potions. The taste is bad, but he swallows, and the notes show recovery. He jumps again and goes on another killing spree on the wolves. He wipes dust from his face and sees the big door. The boss room is ahead, so he smiles as he's finally at the deepest part. Final boss next. If he wins, he will reach level 7, so he stretches and plans to rest a little bit before the fight. Tsuyoshi sits on the ground outside the boss room, very tired. He breathes slow and thinks the medicine tastes awful, but it works. His strength and will come back fast and clean. He grabs his sword, stands, and walks to the heavy door with the blade on his shoulder, ready like a shonen hero about to start the final round. He pushes the door and steps into dark space. He looks left, right, forward. A shape moves in the dark and a tall figure with red eyes shows up. Tsuyoshi feels really excited, not scared. This thing feels like the same level as the white darkness he fought before, but meaner. He thinks this must be the boss of the dark zone. Tsuyoshi turns on his ultimate body skill, his power rising, lightning running along his arms. The boss steps forward, huge and carrying a huge sword wrapped in heavy chains. The room fills with pressure. Then the boss vanishes and reappears above him, its sword already falling fast. Tsuyoshi lifts his sword and blocks. The hit shakes his arms and he drops to his knees, the force so strong it stings his bones. The boss breathes deep and a strange wave hits Tsuyoshi, making his body shake. A small notice pops up. Tremble slow. It is a high skill that scares and slows the foe, and it is hard to escape. Tsuyoshi freezes and fights inside his head, veins standing out, but his body will not move. The boss lifts its sword again. A flash comes from Tsuyoshi's ring and he moves at once, dodging. A new notice says, "Tremble slow" is gone. He blocks the next hit and his eyes shine with lightning. He breathes out and smiles in a sharp way, full of fight. Pure energy flows from his ring of the infinite. It must have stopped the bad effect. The boss hesitates for a beat. Tsuyoshi feels proud and thinks he will not die easy. The boss swings up and he meets it, blocking. The boss shows surprise and speaks in a deep voice, saying Tsuyoshi is strong and his tremble slow broke. Tsuyoshi sees the boss can talk and thinks darkness can be more than beasts. The boss calls humans darkness and says it is a higher being. It vanishes and comes back with a sword that gives a red glow. It strikes again and Tsuyoshi blocks, but the sword makes his own blade crack. This strike also blurs his sight. A quick blade flashes near his forehead and he twists to dodge, but not fully, and a deep cut opens on his side. Blood comes out and his health bar drops fast. A notice appears letting him know that he's bleeding. It is a dangerous debuff that can kill from blood loss unless fixed with potions or healing. Tsuyoshi knows he has no medicine for this, so he wonders if he should run to heal, but the more he thinks the less safe it seems. If he keeps fighting he might bleed out, and if he leaves he might lose the chance to win. He tightens his hold on the sword and chooses one path. He jumps up, lightning crackling around him, and raises his sword high. He cries out and uses his thunder chain fall skill. The boss looks shocked for a second, but it simply steps and pushes the lightning into the ground, taking the hit away and standing unharmed. Tsuyoshi lands and breathes hard, confused why the big move did nothing. The boss laughs and calls his show weak. It says it will kill him and that it does not need sacrifice. The boss slams down with a heavy blow and sends Tsuyoshi to the ground, breaking his weapon and leaving him useless as it turns and says it will kill him next time. But then the boss senses a change and turns back. Tsuyoshi stands and his aura is different, darker and crueler. The boss asks who he is, scared for a moment. Tsuyoshi's form becomes wrapped in red smoke and he copies the boss's sacrifice by absolute duplication. He looks more dangerous than the boss now, muscles tight and eyes wild. A notice appears, named Sacrifice. It shows he gave half his blood to remove all debuffs and gain huge power, making his top skill stronger and evil for a time. Tsuyoshi smiles and says that he will grind the boss into meat with his bare hands, and he moves in with a new savage force. Tsuyoshi steps out from the red smoke, and a new bright system message shows up in front of him. Absolute physical strength starts, and the dark power from the sacrifice skill now flows inside him. His strength becomes 3 times higher, but the power burns his body like fire. The boss notices him right away, and Tsuyoshi only bends down a little. The system screen alerts him that the Chosen One has a special skill, the power to copy any ability, no matter the level or race, depending only on how strong the user is. The ground shakes, red light blasts from the cracks, and smoke rises like a volcano. The boss panics, trying to move faster, but it is already too late. Tsuyoshi's punch hits like a thunderstrike. The boss tries to block with his sword, but it starts breaking right away. The system gives a message that weapon durability is badly damaged. The boss is shocked, but still acts tough, claiming that copying a skill isn't enough to beat him. The system speaks again, saying that weapons and items can break or even be stolen. The sacrifice skill is brutal. It gives power but stops all healing. He knows he only has one chance, so he throws his sword away and covers himself in red lightning and blood. His body twists into a new, terrifying form. He says his sacrifice is real, not fake like Tsuyoshi's. But Tsuyoshi stays calm. He has planned ahead. The boss's face freezes when he realizes his weapon is gone. Half his blood vanishes as Tsuyoshi activates another sacrifice. Before the boss can do anything, Tsuyoshi rushes through the smoke like lightning with thunder chain, the move hitting like judgment from the gods. A massive bolt tears through the boss's body, and his health bar immediately drops straight to 0. The fight is over. The system declares victory, and the Dark Zone boss is defeated. 2 attempts left. The smoke clears, and Tsuyoshi is tired but at least alive. His hands shake with pain spreading through every muscle. His whole body feels like it is falling apart. The system gives him the boss's weapon as a reward. A glowing orb floats in front of him. It is a serrated blade that makes wounds unhealable. Tsuyoshi holds it, seeing it as a perfect new toy for more blood attacks. The system asks if he wants to restart the trial. Doing so would use 1 attempt but give 50% more experience. His body really needs rest, but his hunger for power wins no diffs. The system alerts him that he has leveled up to level 7. He feels so much pain he thinks about stopping, maybe leaving to rest. But Sakura comes to his mind. He has promised to level up 6 times this week. No breaks, no excuses. He steps toward the portal again, and the system guides him back inside. Another round begins. Outside, President Doug and the others wait near the portal. Sakura looks nervous. Some of them doubt, saying he must have failed. But the sounds of thunder still come from the other side, proving he is still alive, until everything goes mute. The thunder stops, and everyone tenses. A flash of light comes from the portal, lightning sparking across the floor. They panic, thinking the darkness has escaped. But Tsuyoshi comes out instead, all worn out but still alive. He has done it, like he just saved the hidden leaf. With 3 rounds completed and bonus experience earned, he reaches level 9. He falls forward and Sakura rushes to catch him. 3 rounds in one go, President Doug can't believe it. He loudly orders to heal Tsuyoshi immediately. Sakura puts her hand on Tsuyoshi's back, and the shaman points their staff light to the sides and uses reflection. Doug says Tsuyoshi's muscles and nerves are badly hurt. The vice president says that Tsuyoshi only survived by luck. Tsuyoshi smiles and says he'll feel better after treatment. Sakura gets annoyed and says he is doing the same as always, and Tsuyoshi asks for forgiveness for acting recklessly. He promises to be more careful as he cannot refuse bonus experience. Reaching level 9 gives him a good reward, but Sakura says his safety is more important. The president asks seriously if Tsuyoshi really passed 3 times. Doug looks confused. Fighting darkness alone 3 times seems impossible, so he thinks that the evil power from Tsuyoshi is stronger than the darkness. He says Tsuyoshi's magic and combat skills are excellent. The vice president admits he underestimated him and apologizes. Tsuyoshi waves it off and says it helps with treatment. The vice president says that the reflection skill is mid-level healing. Shamans heal almost all wounds except deep ones, and Tsuyoshi's body is still in critical condition. The system says reflection is a mid-level healing skill popular with adventurers, so it heals most physical damage. Doug says that Tsuyoshi came out of the dark zone badly hurt. Without treatment, he might die. They say Tsuyoshi should not use secret skills again, as it might stop him from leveling. Tsuyoshi looks at his hand, knowing that he only wants to level up. Some dark eyes appear in front of him, and this scares him. Sakura looks worried and asks what's wrong. Tsuyoshi says he is just tired, and the sacrifice and darkness skills hurt both body and mind. Doug gives him a potion and says that he should take it once a day and meditate. Tsuyoshi smiles and thanks Doug, and the president says it is Kevin's favorite potion and will help him heal. Kevin can see Tsuyoshi's talent and might take him as a student. He knows the legendary law of destruction. Tsuyoshi asks what he means by that, and he learns that there are 12 laws in unexplored zones. Each law can destroy the world. Kevin mastered the 12th law of great winds and improved potion power, so he can heal Tsuyoshi's deep wounds. Tsuyoshi stands up all excited, and Sakura asks if it can really heal him. Doug says now is not the time to meet Kevin, but with a letter, Kevin will meet them. So Tsuyoshi takes the letter and thanks him. They need rare potions and ingredients to trade with Kevin, so Tsuyoshi says goodbye. The vice president asks Doug if he drew any attention, and Doug gave Tsuyoshi a B-rank forbidden blood potion. Doug laughs, saying it is an investment in the future. Pig says it is risky, because a few can survive the dark zone alone. The president says others have done it before. He explains that 1,000 years ago, the king gave rise to their clan. Tsuyoshi bends branches and asks Sakura where to find Kevin. She confirms the way, saying they have a long journey but will level up along the way. She explains they need a team to enter a dungeon. The system says this is a checkpoint. Adventurers gather here before going to dungeons. Tsuyoshi smiles, asking if it looks like a shop. He wants to try his skills, and Sakura says she will watch him. The captain calls for a level 15 warrior or tank with 6,000 combat power. They need enough people for bonuses. Today no one meets the requirements, and the thief suggests choosing another dungeon. The dungeon has a rare bloody rose ingredient for potions worth 500 silver, so the thief hopes for volunteers next time. Tsuyoshi asks to join. He is level 9 but confident, and the team is in disbelief. The captain says that level 9 is too low, but Tsuyoshi says he is serious. 10 minutes remain before the passage closes, and the thief warns the captain they could lose another day. The priest says a level 9 warrior can handle it, and the wind archer agrees. The captain says Tsuyoshi must follow orders and not act alone, as the 4 members are already strong. Tsuyoshi agrees to join, and the captain is happy with this. The system says they enter a level 16 dungeon. It is a level 16 forest rhino, very big and strong but weak to lightning, with a combat power of 7,600. The captain gets mad at the informant, and the thief is scared of the dungeon boss. The captain says they've passed hard dungeons before and can handle it, and the Horn of Return can be used to leave the dungeon if needed. But then, the captain asks where Tsuyoshi is. He quickly gets his question answered as Tsuyoshi destroys all the rhinos in one strike. He says this is easy compared to the Dark Zone, and the team is amazed. He puts his sword on his shoulder, gives a thumbs up, and tells them to keep up, because he's looking forward to the bonuses.